Our country was founded on common law because the Declaration only refers to God 4 times in the Constitution. It doesn't refer to God at all. And it only articulates the structure of government.
So first of all, remember that we were a collection of states and colonies, and you need to read the state constitutions before anything else. 13 out of 13 required a declaration of faith. In almost every single one of the original state constitutions, they had, I profess Lord and Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. Secondly, 55 out of 56 of the original signers of the Declaration were Bible-believing, church-attending Christians. You asked about common law. Well, let's go to 3 principles of common law: presumption of innocence, due process, and jury of your peers. All 3 are biblical principles. So, and all wrapped into the ultimate biblical principle that you shall not favor justice if you are rich or poor, which is in Leviticus 19, which is the idea of blind justice, which is incorporated also in the New Testament ideal, neither slave nor Greek nor Jew, you are all one in Jesus Christ, which you get the idea of human equality. These are all biblical ideas, but more importantly than that, they say that God was only mentioned 4 times in the Declaration of Independence. Well, that's a big deal. John Adams famously said the Constitution was only written for a moral and religious people. It was wholly inadequate for the people of any other. The body politic of America was so Christian that our form and structure of government was built for the people that believed in Christ our Lord. One of the reasons we're living through a constitutional crisis is that we no longer have a Christian nation, but we have a Christian form of government, and they're incompatible. So you cannot have liberty if you do not have a Christian population.
How's it going, everybody? Alex Cuesta here. This is an impromptu show, one that I didn't intend on doing, but it's one that for some reason I have felt the need to do. The Charlie Kirk situation is one that has been everywhere. We've seen all sides. We've seen the good. We've seen the ugly that have come out in terms of comments and things being made about this situation. It's interesting coming on here. Like, I really have no idea what I'm going to say. You know, I have some things pulled up I want to talk about. Unlike most of the shows, there's no script tonight. It's a bizarre day because it's also September 11th. It's been 24 years since 3,000 lives were taken. And it almost is too poetic that someone like Charlie Kirk was taken yesterday, and we have today to mourn him, and more days to come, obviously. But on the day, one of the biggest American days that live in infamy, 9/11, the day now prior, we have another reason to remember and another reason to think as a nation. This is going to be an episode where I'm just stream of consciousness and just talking. Just want to say hi to Caveat Ties. What's going on, brother? I appreciate you being here. This is going to be a difficult show. This isn't going to be an easy show for me to do. I'm going to start off. I finally was able to write down my thoughts. It took me the full day yesterday as I was seeing so many others putting their thoughts into words. I wasn't able to, and I didn't want to rush to do that. I didn't want to just, write something that wasn't genuine. That was just, I don't blame anybody. I just wrote kind of like, RIP Charlie Kirk, pray for the family, because that's all there. But I didn't just want to come out and do that. Now, even though I didn't know the man, this one is very, very different than anything else I've experienced in my life. So I'm going to go, and we'll start off by, I want to read what I posted because it kind of sums up how I feel. And then, I don't know how long I'll be doing the show tonight. Like I said, I don't really know what I'm going to say tonight, but I just felt the need to come on here because last night I couldn't sleep. And I'm a late person anyway. I go to sleep late anyway, but did our show with Ed McRae and had a great show last night. Started off the show talking about Charlie, showing some clips and things like that, and was able to talk with Ed, was able to talk with David, and the thing. But I just don't know. It's a bizarre thing that's happening right now. But caveat ties coming in saying I had a quote unquote friend who attacked my wife sharing a Charlie Kirk thing. She said after a long tirade, I can't even. I replied, if you can't even, don't even. We are no longer Facebook friends. And this is a very weird and different divide that we have right now. This is a divide that isn't your typical political divide. This is separating people who have such deep hatred in their heart. And it's crazy to see. It really is. But we'll start off. Let's go over and let's go to my tab here, and I want to read what I said here. So I posted this today, and so here's what I said. Hold on, let me make sure I get this right. Sorry. This isn't. I usually don't get emotional. This isn't me. This is different than anything I've experienced in terms of celebrities. But let me read it. It's taken me a long time and a lot of reflection to write this because I'm still not able to process everything that happened. I'm not one to really care or feel much about celebrities passing, but this one hits different. Growing up in the Northeast as a conservative-leaning person wasn't always easy. It's always been popular and acceptable to try and dunk on or make fun of that conservative person. But I always loved sharing my opinions, debating, and having dialogue with anybody about my stances. That's what Charlie Kirk was attempting to do on a grand scale, and he was very successful at it. Now, I didn't know Charlie Kirk, but I interviewed a handful of people that did know him, and in the early phases of my podcast, shared some DMs with him about coming on the show. That never worked out, but Charlie was always a person I wanted to have a conversation with. He was a conservative that was unafraid to express his worldview, but he believed that open dialogue with those you disagree with was the answer. When he started Turning Point USA, it was at the height of the Obama administration, and at that time, being a Republican was synonymous with being a racist. People at work, kids in college, and everyday people were afraid to express their views out of fear of being labeled. Charlie stood against that and set out to find middle ground and keep people talking when it was so easy to be divided. At only 18, he saw and knew that the only way to stay one as a country was to continue trying to be neighbors. The reason Charlie Kirk was assassinated was because he was effective and a threat to a radical, evil ideology that had been festering in our country and throughout history. He helped thousands of college-age kids realize that they are not alone on their campuses and it is okay to express their views. They weren't racist, bigoted, transphobic, homophobic, or whatever label was put on them. He was a leader. In this hard time, it's easy to let anger win. I know I felt plenty of it. But Charlie wouldn't want that. He wouldn't want us to fight violence with violence. He wouldn't want the movement to go to the level that those who wanted him silenced have been cheering. What he would call for is more rigorous dialogue, more exchange of ideas, and for conservatives to sit up taller and express their views intelligently and with vigor. The goal was to assassinate Charlie Kirk in broad daylight. That larger goal was to create fear in the hearts of those who think like he did and are willing to speak out. But we cannot be scared. We must now get louder, work harder, and know that if we follow our hearts and the teachings of Christ, we will prevail against evil. The example has been set. Charlie Kirk showed us the way to be a better people and reconnect with those that disagree with us. It's our job to make sure his death was not in vain. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk, and prayers to his beautiful family. And here's a picture of him, his beautiful kids who, he intelligently never showed their faces, and his beautiful wife, Erica, there. They have lost a father. She has lost a husband. There are parents that, and parents-in-laws that have lost a son. There's been a lot of people that I've interviewed here that have lost a friend. We know how close Kevin and Jack Posobiec were. Terry Schilling, Shane Cashman knew him. Mike Marshall, and there's probably many more that have met him and knew him. This is a weird time because it's bizarre. It's easy to want violence here. It's easy to call for an eye for an eye. But it's when you remember who we are talking about, right? When we remember that the man that we are trying to pay any sort of tribute to wouldn't want that. He wouldn't want any sort of violence to happen in his name. I was, not someone who like avidly watched Charlie Kirk clips, the live streams. I would catch a lot of his clips, and I would enjoy them. I'd enjoy the back and forth. It wasn't the same as when you saw like Ben Shapiro or Matt Walsh or Michael Knowles, like trying to make the college kid look stupid. Charlie was legitimately trying to have dialogue. And in the beginning, it wasn't like it got to. He didn't have the big crowds, the MAGA support. He had supporters, but there was a lot more hate. There was a lot more anger. It was different than what Steven Crowder was doing with the Change My Minds. Because Steven Crowder was going in there with the big sign and trying to cause that controversy. And Charlie was legitimately just trying to go in and have respectful dialogue. And this isn't a knock on Steven. Steven Crowder has done great work with the Change My Minds and all the things he's done. But Charlie was doing it differently. He invited the dialogue. He asked the questions. He was a staunch believer of his conservative values and a very staunch believer in Christ and an intelligent man. He didn't go to college. He started Turning Point at 18 when he saw what was happening in this country. I couldn't imagine that. At 18, I was, getting ready to go to Marist. I was finishing up high school. I couldn't possibly think about what he was thinking about. There was no way I could imagine myself doing that. I was a conservative. Like I said, I expressed my views. I was not someone who was shy about it. I knew colleges were a tough place to be a conservative. Hell, like I said in my thing, high school is a tough place to be a conservative. It's weird that we're in this place because it's kind of just come in vogue to be a conservative outwardly and openly. That wasn't a thing. It never was a thing. It's always been okay to ridicule that conservative and look at them differently. And, especially if they were a Rush Limbaugh listener, like that was not an okay thing. If you supported George Bush, you were evil. George Bush was a megalomaniac. He's a dictator. He was sending all these people to die and he was evil and blah, 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 blah. And as much as, I reflect back, I'm not a fan of what George Bush was. As I look back on it, in the time, that's what the conservatives had. That's what the Republicans had. And then God forbid, when Obama was anointed, if you dared to speak out against him because you didn't like his policy, it wasn't that. You were just a racist. You were a racist Republican. We knew it. And it's been going on forever. And to be brave enough at 18 years old to go, no, I don't accept that. And like I said in my quote, my thing, he started Turning Point in 2012. That was right at the beginning of Obama's second term. Obama was busy stoking a lot of division, blaming cops for things, making the racial divide bigger. And it was a tough time. I remember it was my sophomore year when the election happened first with Obama. And I just remember when he won, just the campus erupted. And I've never been afraid to say what I think. I've never been afraid to speak out. But it was such a weird time when you notice more than ever when you're sitting on campus, and this was me 2008, sitting on this campus and your values. You believe in your values. I firmly believe that, what we stand for on the right is correct. But just to see the reaction and the response from your fellow peers, people you're friends with, celebrating a man who in your heart of hearts is not good for the country. And it was easy to feel alone there. It was. Being a conservative, again, is still tough. Because what the leftists always have and what they have used is they have the emotion involved. They have the passion. And I think that is what terrified people the most about Charlie Kirk. When he was doing these uh, campus visits and questions, he matched that passion. He matched that emotion. And his passion and emotion was rooted strongly in Christ, strongly in his moral values and his conservative ideals. And he was passionate about it. He was knowledgeable about it. And he wasn't scared to talk about it. And just what he was able to do to liberate so many on these places of college campuses, which is a scary place to be a conservative too. Openly being a conservative is not a safe thing. It really isn't. Never has been up until the recent history. And now there's just more people out there that are willing to be open. But there were so many times where you could be conservative and saying something and getting into a debate, and someone else is conservative, but they'll keep quiet because they didn't want people to know, because you were supposed to be ashamed to be a conservative. And I don't think people realize the timing of when Turning Point popped up and just how difficult it was to do as an 18-year-old man, to even consider doing something like that and keeping it. Telling conservatives on Ivy League campuses and California campuses and Oregon and Portland and everything, and New York and New Jersey and Illinois and all these very much liberal meccas, that I know there's conservatives here, and I know that you guys are scared to speak up. So I will do it for you. I will sit here and I will talk to those who disagree, and I will show you that it's okay. And he did. And he fought that battle. He fought that battle for so long. But, it sparked so many more things. Turning Point USA became a movement. There's college chapters everywhere now. And that is going to be one of Charlie Kirk's biggest legacies, that he will live on through the work that he did. Because now on campuses, there is a place. There was always the college Republicans, right? That was always kind of a thing. But they kind of sucked. I'm not going to lie. Most college Republicans have been pretty weak. I'm not going to lie. They don't do anything. They just go and they debate. And they watch debates and do dumb shit. Turning Point USA was about action. They were about holding these rallies, holding these things, having political figures there talking about these topics. And it was a very, very, very different type of thing that he started. So Proctafol, what's going on? Saying wish it was under better circumstances, but I wanted to pop in and see how you're holding up. I mean, as good as we can, right? Like I've said, I didn't know Charlie Kirk, but from interviewing people that did know him, that did like him, and just seeing the impact he had, it's hard not to feel a loss. And, it's weird. It's a weird feeling. But yeah, Charlie did some remarkable things. And we would not have a President Trump if it wasn't for people like Charlie Kirk, like Turning Point USA. Could you have imagined in 2015, without the 3 years of infrastructure being built with Turning Point, the 3 years of Charlie Kirk basically going into the schools and reverse infiltrating it, like where the leftists infiltrated it, and Charlie Kirk was being that agent and coming in and allowing people to feel like they can speak and making it okay for your Ben Shapiro's and your Candace Owens and your Milo Yiannopoulos to even try to go to these very leftist campuses. It was because of the things that Charlie Kirk was doing. And he got these groups that were unafraid. He led that charge for being unafraid. He emboldened, empowered thousands of college age kids to stand up to the leftist, to the ridicule, to the you're a monster, you're a racist, you're a homophobe, you're a transphobe, you're a Nazi, you're a Hitler supporter, and to just look at them and say, fuck you. I'm none of those things. I am none of those things. These are my ideals, and they are none of those things. He emboldened so many. And you have to believe that he had that impact in 2016. And then again in 2024, when Trump won again, how integral those college campus visits and those clips and those little debate points when he's talking to people who are voting for Kamala that have no idea what they're doing on these college campuses and just having these difficult conversations. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Caveat Ty saying he was effective. Clearly, why they targeted him. They targeted him because he was effective. Obviously very, and also on top of that, because that way of thinking, they run off fear. Their whole movement is off fear. Leftists run off fear because they want you to fear the boot if you don't fall in line. And in their belief system, they're hoping that they scared us. And maybe that's another reason why I'm jumping on tonight, because the weird feeling that I had after going through all this is I'm not scared. And again, I'm not a big channel. So, I'm not somebody maybe that's on their radar. But I'm not scared. I am more resolved than ever now to continue to do what we do here on the Alex Questa Show, to continue to talk about things that we find important, to talk to people who we think are interesting. That's what we do here. It started off, I talked to David. It was the episode, God, I don't remember right now. It's very early on. But when Billboard Chris agreed to jump on the show, and we interviewed Billboard Chris, and that was before we were doing live stream and everything. It was recorded, put it on. But I said to David, if we have on Billboard Chris, and I think before that we've had on John Ziegler, and we didn't have anyone like super controversial. And this is at, the height of Billboard Chris really still rising and very, very well noticed for having a stance against, transing of kids and things like that. And I said to David, there's no going back here. If we interview Billboard Chris, there's no going back. We are officially in this, and he was all in. And, I said to him then too, and this 2 years ago, we have the ability to use our voice. We have the know-how. We're not idiots. And we have the ability to use our voice. And I feel like we should. Because before that, we were kind of keeping it more cultural. Maybe a little milquetoast type of politics things. We're keeping it more cultural, more sports focused. And, I said I felt wrong not speaking up. And it got amplified even more when Biden won. So I definitely made a concerted effort to, be more involved. And this makes me want to double and triple down even more. Proctoval saying I'm not all that political or religious, so this was a terrible way to be introduced to Charlie and his work. Yes. I think a lot of people are about to be introduced to him this way. And Proctoval saying, after looking into him for a bit, I can say two things for certain. He and I wouldn't have had much in common in any discussion, and that no matter what, we would have both been civil in any discussion. And that's one of the things that, Proctoval, I love that you could say that, because that's one of the things that Charlie Kirk wanted. He wanted to talk to people that disagreed with him, and he wanted to have it be civil, and he wanted to show everyone on all sides, including our side, including quote unquote the right, that civil discussion and disagreement is okay and it's allowed. It is allowed. They are good things to have. Having passion for what you believe in, fighting, arguing, debating, but still turning around and going, but you're my fellow citizen. We disagree. And, we may think that some of the things we believe in are possibly evil, right? But in the end, we both still got something out of having that discussion, that debate. And and he got clips, don't get me wrong. There were clips that he had, and they went viral, and some of it was dunks, and I get it. That's the viral stuff that gets you more popular. But if you see other ones where Charlie is legitimately interested in having a discussion with people, um, yeah, it's Proctor's saying it's okay, it's allowed and it's healthy to disagree. It's 100% healthy to disagree. That's a good thing to do. Sometimes you learn more by having a legitimate disagreement where maybe you still walk away with your belief pretty firm, but there were a few chips because that person who talked you had a few things that came in. Caveat is saying, I'm kind of tired of people saying we need to stop the rhetoric. I think we need to get back to people needing some grit when people say bad things. Words don't kill, actions kill. So with that, yes and no. Maybe it's just me, but I don't think the right is as bad with the rhetoric. And I get it. Some of the things, like I've even said, like, leftists are all wrong. I label them all communists. That is rhetoric. And I've even said that their side's evil at times. I am someone that has also said that. But I'm not mainstream. I don't have institutional power. You have mainstream media figures telling people loudly that Donald Trump's a Nazi. His supporters are Nazi supporters. We're all bigots. We're all transphobes. And 100% radicalizing people. And again, there's people on the right that radicalize. I think Nick Fuentes, even though he's been saying some good stuff, I'm not going to lie about this Charlie Kirk situation, but Nick Fuentes, I think, radicalizes people with the white nationalist stance and things like that. You have those on the right. Don't get me wrong. Even though I don't consider Nick on the right, that's kind of... But I firmly feel that the rhetoric is significantly worse on the left. You have convinced people that anyone who supports Donald Trump is a fascist, that we are Nazis on the right, that we are bigots, that we hate all gay people, that we want to, kill grandma every single election by taking away her Medicaid and Social Security. All these things that paint us in such a terrible light. And again, don't get me wrong. We do the same to leftists, but honestly, we have a little more historical accuracy on our side. There's more precedent for when we are concerned that the policies of the left will lead to genocides, because historically, the policies they push for do. So I'm with you. I don't care about the rhetoric. I don't think that our side is as inflammatory. I second Matt Walsh when Matt Walsh was saying we need to kind of come together and put aside petty squabbles. I believe in that. I think now is the time. So Caveat is coming in and saying, I do understand dehumanizing words do stir people and to do bad things. But if some weren't so unstable, if so many weren't so unstable, and yes, they are also creating unstable, weak-minded people. I mean, but that's been going on forever. Since it's been going on for a long time, since they've been abusing kids mentally, telling them that they need to save the world. And, they need to save the world. And when you're going through puberty, if you're questioning anything about your sex, you're automatically the opposite sex. Like, they have been doing this now for a long time. And of course, that's going to cause mental instability. Another thing about this that I've noticed is this is a bizarre time. Typically, when things like this occur, this is a rallying cry for a lot of people. And I give credit. There's a good amount of people on the left that have come out and vehemently condemn this. And I applaud them. Ed Krasenstein had a big one. And I know Defiant Elves is having a fucking field day, coming in and, bashing and absolutely sleeping a lot of these people that it takes that were very, very, very disgusting. But I do applaud them because it is hard to go against your side. I know Dean Withers apologized to his group, but he had a sincere reaction of sadness when he saw Charlie Kirk get assassinated. You had Charlie Sheen on Joe Rogan Experience, and there's clips of them floating around when they saw it. And I think we all had the same reaction. I know for me, I saw it, and it's one of those things where you're looking at it and it's like, you know that he can't survive that. You're praying. You're praying for a miracle. You're praying that it looks worse than it is. Um, and the first video I saw was a close-up one. So I didn't even see like the far away one where you kind of couldn't tell if it really like the first one I saw was a close-up one. And I saw that and it looked fake. It looked like it was possibly done with AI. It was so gory and hoping it wasn't real. And then when it ended up being real, it was tough. And there was like glimmers of hope where people were, he was in the hospital, he was stable, he was getting a massive blood transfusion, but you just knew in the pit of your stomach that just watching it and just how terrible it was. I can't imagine what his wife Erica and his 2 kids are going through and their whole family. I heard that his wife and his daughter were in the crowd. That's a traumatic moment. Everyone in their circle needs to be rallying around them. When Erica says it's okay, you can go, don't go, stay. Her and those 2 kids are going to need people there for a long time. They're going to need people there when they say that, no, I'm strong and I'm okay. You don't need to stay. Please stay if you're close to them. Be there for dinner. Let them, let Erica be okay and be secure to go and, maybe go to the grocery store on her own and watch her kids and go with her. Do these things. And I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine losing my spouse, period. To imagine having it happen in that way and always knowing it's a possibility in the back of your head, right? With Charlie Kirk's stature, with the insanity of leftists and how deranged they are, and the fact that they tried to kill President Trump twice, all the things that, a lot of the trans shooters. And I mean, you knew it was a possibility. He's a high profile figure. The violence has been ramping up. He's been speaking about it. But for it to happen had to be so surreal. I can't imagine the thoughts of Erica Kirk. It's unconscionable to imagine that. Like I said, I can't imagine losing my spouse. Watching it happen in such a gruesome fashion had to feel fake. It couldn't have felt real. And still, I can't imagine that it feels real now. I know there's a give, send, go. Maybe there's a few for Charlie Kirk and his family. If you can give, please. I don't think that, and it's such a weird thing because I don't think money is going to be a problem. And I don't think it's the money that matters. It'll be the act of, even if it's $5, giving that and showing that, we are with people. Caveat Ty saying, I want to see people get fired for garbage takes, but what will happen to those folks? Will they become violent? I was thinking about that as we're watching, because I know Scott Presler lives at TikTok. A lot of people are doing, highlighting all these garbage takes and people are getting fired. I did think about that too, caveat. But here's the thing. The people that were saying some of the most vile things were probably already mentally deranged anyway. They were the ones that were likely to get violent anyway. It's one of those things where you can't fear retribution of evil. You can't not stop evil because what evil may follow. You need to prevent and stop evil when it's there. And some of the takes have been demonic. I hope nobody works with Stephen King ever again. Stephen King has been someone who has just been terrible on this. I hope he gets blackballed. It's sickening and it's sad that it takes, it's taken this. But it's such a weird time too, because you have to think about it. Yes, we've seen unrest, but it's kind of felt like things have been starting to slowly get under control, right? Trump has been doing his thing, whether you agree or disagree. but he's been everywhere. He went to the US Open. He was at the Yankees game today. He went to a football game. Like, he's done a lot. He's been everywhere. It's not like Charlie Kirk hasn't done more rallies. There's been doing outdoor things. And it's kind of felt weirdly like we were maybe past a lot of this. And this is exactly when these types of things happen. When you feel like you're past it, when you feel like you safely were able to breathe easy, that's when these types of things happen. I've heard security was loose there. And from everything I've heard about Charlie Kirk, that makes sense. He wanted to be able to interact with people. He liked going face to face and talking with people. He didn't fear controversy, and I don't think Charlie Kirk feared death. He couldn't have. Not for what he did. He couldn't have feared death. But yeah, it was a very, very telling time. So I want to jump to something one of our guests said. Our former guest, Nicole Solis. I thought she had a pretty good take here on X. She was quote tweeting Real Daily Wire's Charlie Kirk over here. And she said September 10th should be a new federal holiday in honor of Charlie Kirk, Free Speech Day. And she added Harmeet Dillon, the president, White House, Elon Musk. I couldn't agree more. I think that would be a beautiful, beautiful tribute if President Trump does that. It would show that the radicals don't win, that the radicals can't win. We can't allow them to win. I would 100% support that. And like I said, I think that's a beautiful thing. I want to go to the other side of the coin here. And even though I shouldn't give this asshole any credence, Destiny is at it again, being a piece of shit. This is just one of the tame rhetorics too. So Destiny in here saying, Ashley Babbitt, Corey Competore, and now Charlie Kirk are dead because of MAGA rhetoric coming from Donald Trump. Even today, Trump and the rest of his ilk, Fox News, Daily Wire, and other conservative media, refuse to call for lowering the temperature on both sides and exclusively blame the Democrats. This will not change until conservatives decide they want it to change. And again, the question to Destiny is, when has the left ever toned down their rhetoric? Because they never have. Their rhetoric has always been fucking on fire. Since I could remember, conservatives were shitty people. Conservatives were dictators. They were wealthy white men. They were the worst of the worst. They were Rush Limbaugh followers, and they never toned down their rhetoric. We've always been bigots on the right. That is what we have been called this whole fucking time. Since the 36 years, almost 37 years, I have been on this planet. If you were an open conservative, it was okay for people to mock you. Where if you were openly on the left and espousing very flowery and nice left ideals, that was the politically correct take. So I want him to fucking spare me this bullshit of both sides need to turn it down. No. The problem here, and the problem that has been since 2016, 2015, since Trump came down that fucking elevator, is he gave everyone carte blanche to fucking defend themselves on the right. And that's what's been happening. That is what the left fears. And that's what the left is not used to. They are not used to people on the right defending themselves. They're used to having debates every once in a while with people that are willing to speak out. People like me who have never given a shit. But they are not used to seeing people in mass supporting a movement. They're not used to seeing people in mass willing to defend themselves. This was not the party of George Bush, John McCain, Mitt Romney anymore. When you just took it on the chin when they called you every dirty name in the book. And you just said, oh, well, that's politics. That ended. Once people saw Donald Trump starting to defend himself Everyone else was like, fuck it, I can do it too. And that's what's changed, is that conservatives are not scared of defending themselves now. And David chiming in from work. Hey, Dave, you don't got to respond to Destiny. Don't let cucks have that type of voice. Here's the problem, Dave. Yeah, he's a cuck piece of shit, but he does have idiots that follow him. And he does have morons that believe in the things that he says. And you know what? Sometimes you do need to check stupid. So I'm going to, because he's a fucking moron. And he is one of the people that sets mainstream for the radical left. He is a bar for the radical left that people take cues from. So you know what? There are times when you do have to. And that is what we see lately. Conservatives are not afraid to defend themselves openly and proudly and be conservative and have our ideals. Praise Christ. Be 2A, be anti-abortion, be all of these things that it means to be a conservative. Want a moral life, want a good nuclear family, want lower taxes, want less government, want a strong military. Follow the Constitution, believe in the Bill of Rights, understand what the Federalist and Anti-Federalist papers were saying, know what our founding is, what it means, who we are as a country and who we're not. That is what conservatives have started to do. And we've seen it pop up. And that is what they don't like. That is what they consider rhetoric. Is that we're not afraid to call out the nonsense anymore. We're not calling it politically correct anymore. We're not playing their games. We are calling them out for what they are. Most of them are leftists. And I've said this before. When people say, oh, we want to go back to a time where like Bill Clinton or, the nice Democrats. No, maybe the rank and file were. The people in charge were always this far left. Always, 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 always. Because they praised people like Woodrow Wilson, who was a full-on leftist, not even a progressive, a full-on leftist. If he could have made us a communist country immediately, he would have. And they praise FDR, who was a full-on leftist, who was a man that, Hitler thought was his compatriot in ideology. So no, spare me that there was one time where the leadership in the Democrat Party was ever not super far left. Nancy Pelosi, Harry Reid, the leadership on the left, didn't disagree with Bernie Sanders, didn't disagree with AOC and all that they were coming in to do in terms of their far left ideology. They just believed in incrementalism. They were winning the battle of slightly and slowly pushing left, pushing left, pushing left, pushing left. And when AOC and the squad came in and loudly wanted to go further left, that was the disruption. And then Pelosi said the game. Pelosi told her, you need to relax. And what did AOC do? AOC has calmed down significantly because she understands the game. So the difference here is people aren't afraid. Proctofile saying the biggest factor in all this is the internet. To an extent, Proctofile, because even at the beginning of Facebook and Instagram and Twitter in the early onset, you still were careful about being a conservative. There was still a large swath of time where not only would they ban you for it, it was something that you didn't want your employer to know. You didn't want other friends that maybe you want to stay friends with to know. And there wasn't as much of the contention. And again, this all changed with Donald Trump coming in and not caring and giving people the license to go out and express themselves and be themselves. And again, that's when social media really started to blow up and goes far one, far the other. And social media is a absolute toxic area. Proctfall saying the simple fact that it exists allows people with crazy ideas to find others that agree with them. Yes, but also Proctfall, I don't mind that exists because I want to know who these psychos are. I need to know who they are. I believe in that freedom of speech to hear what these people are and what they say, like Destiny, and know that they are the psychos that are wrong and that we need to fight back against. So it's unconscionable about what is going on. I want to jump to our friend Stuttering Craig over at Side Scrollers. His X post here saying it's disheartening to see people who say their quote for love, quote, show how much hate is really in their heart. Full mask off, good riddance. And he's 100% right. He's 100% right. There's moments like this where you see it. Donald Trump almost being assassinated was one. Twice. They celebrated it, but thank God he wasn't assassinated. But now with Charlie Kirk, with someone actually being killed, one of the things that the conservatives always say is, or always have said is, what are they going to do? They're going to wait till somebody's killed, and then that'll change things. The people that say that don't understand the ideology. It's not that they are going to change anything when somebody's killed. That's a check mark. The far left, leftist extremists, the leadership, not the rank and file, because I'm not going to burn every person that votes Democrat. They don't know how deep this rock goes. They just think that they're voting for a little bit of a bigger welfare state, some better social protection, a little more compassionate things than they believe in terms of socially. It's mostly all social issues that people vote Democrat for. They really don't vote Democrat for financial issues, for security issues. That's not why you vote Democrat. Those are most people that vote for a lot of social change and social issues. I'm talking about the top tier. The people that like to stoke this, the NGOs that like to pay for these types of riots that happen that are not real, that are astroturfed. That is what we are seeing. Proctafal saying back when Clinton was in office and the internet was new, we could keep our own in check at the local level. That was true. But you have to also remember, though, leftist violence isn't new, guys. The internet makes it faster for it to get around. But the Weather Underground existed. In 1970, there were like 200 bombings or something insane. The Weather Underground were radical leftists. You've had radical leftist activists in the environment tree spiking for years, intending to kill people that were cutting down trees. We know about it now. But this tactic isn't new. Violence on the left isn't new. People forget that they bombed Congress. Congress has been stormed before. Before J6, y'all. There's been a lot of times where leftists protesting have stormed in and went to offices of sitting congressmen and senators. Now they ended up not being violent there. That's okay. But it's not like their tactics aren't that way. And the radicals have always been this way. The radical left, not only in this country, but throughout the world, moves in the same way. They believe that if you are not with them, you are against them. Your death will help them get closer to the utopia. If people have to die in order to get closer to the utopia, that is okay. Chairman Mao believed it. Stalin believed it. Hitler believed it. These are all true believers in far leftism. Leftism seeks a utopia, and they do not care how they have to get there. They want people to be in the same consciousness so that they can understand they're the only ones that understand how to get to this utopia. And you can learn from them and you can join them. But if you're against them, then you need to be taken care of. This is their belief system. They follow people like the critical thinkers from the Frankfurt School. They follow repressive tolerance. I can't think of his name right now, who wrote it, but quite literally saying that any violence on the left should be tolerated, but any sort of pushback on the right should be severely persecuted. This is not surprising in any which way. This is not surprising at all. Anybody who is surprised by this response, not this response, these actions that we've been seeing, the intentional radicalization of our youth, it's planned. They've always used the youth. This is all part of it. Turning the youth against their parents, against the elders. Again, I go back to Chairman Mao and the four olds. They had to get rid of the four olds in the time of Chairman Mao. What they do, they use the student movement, a student uprising. and the students would beat their parents, beat each other, snitch on each other. This is how they think. This is leftist philosophy. And again, at the bottom, there's the people that still think they're doing the right thing. They still think they're just voting for some social, for some extra added security for their the way that they live, a little more welfare in terms of the government giving them some things. They don't know that what they're trying to support and what they're supporting unintentionally is one of the most evil ideologies ever lived for hundreds of years. I want to bring in one of our friends, Melee K from Melee Games.
Hello, Alex. How's it going?
I've been better.
Yeah, same. Usually I'm like, hey guys, what's going on? And it's just I don't have that in me right now.
Yeah, no, I
To be
appreciate you
honest.
coming on. I shot the invite. I've just been here for 15 minutes, just kind of stream of consciousness about the whole Charlie Kirk thing. So this is going to be one of those moments, okay, where you were the first time you saw a clip or heard about it is going to be burned in your brain.
100%.
So
110%.
where were you? What were you doing, you and James, when you guys first heard or saw anything about this?
I was at home, man. I was, getting ready to start my day, get some stuff done for our channel. And, you wake up and kind of go through the motions. And then I was like, I'm a little tired. I'm going to like take some time or whatever. Just that morning, for some reason, I was like, I'm going to, start a bit later today and do stuff. And then I was taking it easy. And James, actually, we saw it before it like started going viral. We saw it really, really early. Just because we're people that go on Poll and Telegram and all these places, so those are usually the first spots that these hit.
Yeah.
So James messaged me and he's like, Charlie Kirk, like there's something going on. There's like a shooting at the event. We didn't even realize, like, at least I didn't realize initially that he had gotten shot.
Yeah,
I saw like the crowd scattering and I didn't see him getting hit yet. And lo and behold, we're looking and I'm like looking through Twitter and I couldn't find anything. It wasn't hitting my feed yet because usually that stuff is like instant when it's like such a big deal.
Yeah.
Nothing was hitting my feed and I'm just like searching every keyword possible. And then I look at one clip and it's the one where it's far away from I've seen all of it, but
Yeah.
the one where he was far away. And I'm like, oh shit, he got hit by something. Like that's not a reaction that you have if you're reacting to noise. Like you got hit by something.
Yeah.
And then of course, then it started to hit everything and it completely halted our day. Like I haven't slept. James hasn't slept. James is now very sick. I don't know if that was just a culmination of him already, being worn out just from how busy we are. And then, of course, this news. And it's just, we saw like the world collapse before our eyes in some senses. It's insane. I will never forget that moment. It's the last time I felt so intensely emotional and I'm not like afraid to admit that I cried as soon as I saw like the close-up footage because I was like, he's dead. And this was before they announced that he was dead or anything. I'm like, you don't survive that. There's no way. But the last time I got that like just emotional and like couldn't do anything was when, Trump was shot at as well.
Yeah.
It completely like that day I was like, I can't think about anything else, can't do anything else. But this has just been like awful. Awful.
It's been next level. And the thing is like, it's crazy. So someone posted in like, I have like a friend group chat and they posted Charlie Kirk was shot. And the first video they posted was a close-up one. That's the first video I saw was a close-up one. And at that point, I was hoping that it was like a fake, that it was an AI, that someone was playing a sick joke because it didn't look real. That close-up one doesn't look real. It looks, because just the amount of gore, it just looked
Yeah, I can understand that. I've seen some people analyzing the clip and like, his ring and stuff like that and whatever. But like, I guess I had just seen enough of it at that point that I knew it was real. Because I learned about it as the crowd was still dispersing. Like I was seeing people like live streaming, like running
That's wild.
and being live at the time. And I just didn't like post anything on social media right away because I wanted to figure out what was going on, and I was in
Yeah.
shock, and I was like, "Is he okay?" Like, that's my priority is like, "Is he
And there were
okay?"
those so many mixed reports coming in with people that I trust that were like, "Hey, he's in the hospital, he's stable, getting a massive blood transfusion." And like
Yeah.
you knew it wasn't going to work because you
Yeah.
saw the footage. But like in your heart of hearts, you're like, if God performs miracles, like please. And it was it was crazy. Caveat Ty saying, I saw the TMZ apology, but did you see the video they were apologizing for? I did, and um, nobody should watch TMZ again. Did you see their initial like reporting of it?
I saw a tweet that said TMZ is laughing, and I
Yeah,
just,
yeah, yeah.
I didn't even bother because I'm like, TMZ is scum to begin with. And, I don't need to see all of it. I don't need to watch people mock a man who got assassinated for free speech. And I don't care what their cope is or anything. I mean, they're
No,
realizing now
no.
how serious it is, but it's too late. I don't care. So no, I saw it like, in passing in my feed, but I'm trying like, I've seen clips of people being deranged and,
I won't
being
watch them.
excited, but I just don't wanna give them the attention. I'm giving all my watch time to people like, Megyn Kelly, who I saw break down live when she realized that he had passed,
Yeah, yeah.
Glenn Beck, Candace Owens, who did one of the most beautiful tributes of anyone I've ever seen. So I've been trying to give all that time and energy to people who love him, who want to celebrate him, who want to carry on his legacy. And of course, you can't avoid seeing these shitheads too. Sorry if I swear too much, but
No, you could swear as much as you
it's
want. You
me.
know that.
But I just I don't want to give those people the watch time or the attention. It doesn't mean I'm never going to quote tweet those people or make fun of them, but they're just a waste of space. They're not people to me. They're
No,
demons.
no.
So,
So I do want to get to right here your post because I saw it and I thought it was actually fantastic.
oh, thank you.
I'll read what you said here. If you're celebrating Charlie Kirk's death, you will one day celebrate my death. You will one day celebrate the death of someone I love dearly. You do not have my empathy. You are not worthy of my time or energy. You are not human to me. You have no place in my life. And I mean, I can't disagree with you.
Mhm.
How, coming from the fact that, is it any different in the Canadian sphere? Because you're over in Canada.
It's so
Um,
weird here. Yeah, I've been trying not to make it about Canada on social media because it's so easy for me to be like, in Canada, we're doing this,
yeah,
but
yeah,
like to me, this is like such a huge moment for America. But in Canada, when it initially happened, of course, I was grieving for hours. And
yeah,
then I'm like, you know what, we got to go get food or something. Like, yeah, we can cook here, but let's just go get some fresh air. Like, just, we're in the same space, just like obsessing over this and getting, at least on my end, I was very, very emotional. And James is obviously very upset about it too. But yeah, so I eventually was like, okay, let's go out and get something. So we went out, for a quick meal. And, none of the TVs were showing anything. I don't know how it is in America. If this has been showing news coverage, I would assume so. But it was all just like, oh, here's sports on the TV, and everyone seemed normal. And of course, I'm not having like full on interactions with people, but I didn't hear a single word about it when I was
no.
outside. And it's very strange. But on a social media side, I have had to cut ties with people.
Is it one of
So
those things where Charlie Kirk was important? He was an important
yeah.
man. He did a lot. But is it one of those things for like people like me and you who are online more than most people because we do our streaming that while he did have an impact on college campuses and stuff,
Mhm.
that he was maybe, and this is tough to say, but like very important to us, but to the common person, especially because he was on the conservative side, not as mainstream. Because I have seen people that, to me, it's devastating.
Of course,
But
yeah.
my wife's not very political.
Mhm.
And for her, she was just saddened that something like this happened, but she really didn't
Right.
know who Charlie Kirk was. Um, it's such a bizarre thing because I think to us, like this is a landslide movement, and even to your people that are political on the left, right? Like,
Yeah.
and for different reasons. But it's like we live in such a different and weird world where there's the online world and your political online spaces, and then there's people that are just trying to get by that typically weren't very political, but they got their news of the day at nightly news. And this would have been something that without social media would have been covered in the nightly news. You know,
Yeah.
conservative commentator was fatally shot at an event, blah blah blah, and they wouldn't have shown. We're not going to show the footage out of the love of the family, like, you know what I mean? And we're in
Mhm.
such a different age where that video is circulating everywhere still. His wife and his 2 kids, I believe his wife and his daughter were there. They have to see this over and over and over. This is going
Awful.
to live on forever, where their kids, when they are of age to understand what happened, that they're going to watch their dad be shot. And it's almost like sometimes I miss the 90s when we were more ignorant, when we just got our nightly news, but
Yeah.
there's also the value of having all this information because we can fight. We can be stronger and not just have to rely on a few it's like such I'm all over the place with this fucking thing.
Oh, I
It's
understand,
miserable.
man. I
It's
don't wor
miserable.
I get it. I've been like I said, I've been a mess. It's these things have been festering for so long anyways, and
Mhm.
it's not necessarily a feeling of surprise that it happened because again, we witnessed, the now standing president having more than one attempt on his life, but
Yep.
one that was very public that we could
Mhm.
see live. But it's a reality that a lot of people live with when they're outspoken. That this could happen to them, and to actually see it happen was just like the most shaking thing in the world. To answer your question about, if is it like streamers that know him particularly, I've been trying to figure that out because there are people that I call them normies, right? The people that just kind of they stay in their own lane and they hear trickles of information and then they'll
Yeah.
talk about it. Those are some of the people I had to cut off because they were obviously getting information from a very poor place. And the thing is, you can get information from a poor place, but you still hear at the end of the day that someone got assassinated for speaking. It doesn't matter what their opinion is.
Yeah.
If you're sitting there celebrating it, I never want to see your face again. And that's the nicest thing I can do is never see your face again.
And I've
So,
seen both. I've seen some really good reactions from people who aren't typically political,
yeah.
and even people that are on the left that I know were like vitriolic towards Trump.
Yep.
And they're just like, yo, this is wrong. And then I've also seen the flip side where people are mocking it and saying he was a Nazi and thoughts and prayers and trying to mock him. And, you know, it's, I'm not the type, I don't cut people off. I don't block people. I don't unfriend people. I want
Yeah.
to see it. Like, I want to see it. So I want to know how terrible of a human they become. I'm not like, I don't mind having those people in my
Look,
space because then it lets me know to avoid them at all times.
I'm the same as you. I'm very open. I'll just give an example. Because I go on side scrollers now, there are people that don't talk to me anymore. There are
Which
people
is
that cut me off,
hilarious.
which is crazy, but
Because
whatever. And
Craig is the most non-controversial figure I ever met, like, in terms of, like, where because Craig has been forced onto the right. Like, I think he's always been a little more, like, right-leaning, but
mhm,
he's been forced to have his opinions because we had Craig on God, it was when he was basically coming out of his, like, pseudo-retirement, and,
mhm.
um I randomly saw a tweet from him like, "Hey, I'm coming back." So I messaged him and he was like, "Sure, I'll come on." And like he showed David and I this old side scrollers logo and told us like I'm bringing it back. It was after the show. He like showed us like a clip of it and we were pumped. And like his goal was never to be what side scrollers is. Like his goal was always to go there and just talk gaming. Him and
Yep.
Blab just wanted to talk about games, give people updates, do a similar thing to what he was doing on side scrollers and at Screw Attack.
Yeah.
And then this crazy shit started to happen, and he's basically been forced to defend himself and his views. And I know Craig would much rather not have to do this. He would much rather just go and start making top tens again and rating and critiquing games. But because he's a guy that understands the gravity of situations and he's not a moron, like
Well,
I almost
he
feel
has
sad
kids
for Craig that he's
too.
forced to
Like,
do this. Like I'm a guy that likes this stuff. I want it to come and be political.
yeah.
You and James, you like being political while working with games. Like it's kind of what, this is not what Craig wanted to do.
Yeah.
And like part of me feels bad for him that he's been forced to get into this space.
I mean, okay, well, first of all, I was gonna say he has kids, so of course he has an investment in
Yes.
the future of America. So it's natural that he's going to react to these things. But how do you talk about gaming news every day and not get political at this point?
It's hard
It's
not to.
near impossible. I mean, we were supposed to have our podcast tonight, but with James feeling sick, I just didn't feel right being, just me. It feels like a two-man show, and I didn't want to tell his jokes. He does his rapid fire. It's like, it's better with your delivery, man. Don't worry. We'll just do the podcast next time. But, um, I'm seeing people like Ghost of Yote, people celebrating Charlie Kirk, and everything. And it's like, this is integrated in gaming. These people are everywhere. Like, what do you do? All of these stories become political because it's like they're just infesting everything. So,
Yeah.
I understand that people, want that show to be more video games and everything. I don't like disagree with everything there, all the criticisms. Sometimes some of it's right. But I also don't blame Craig for leaning into it either, because what are you supposed to do? What do you talk about? It's
I
all
mean,
political.
it's all political. And
Just
the
embrace it,
issue
in my opinion. Just say, look, yeah, we are a gaming and politics podcast. That's what I would do.
The issue is that like that is a sign of the left winning though, right? Because the left is the one that wants to make everything political.
Yeah.
And we found that the more people become political, the worse we become as a society because people don't truly understand or like grasp what they're saying. They're headline hunters. They believe a few talking heads and just parrot them. And it's like it was a better time when like I was read and I liked politics and there were a few of my friends that liked it and maybe they were on the left and we had good debates and then someone would come in and say something that was like a headline hunt and we'd look at them and be like, go away. Like
Yeah.
now that everyone, they're just like all headline hunters. And if you try to get into more nuanced, they just kind of look at you with three heads, and that's on both sides too. It's kind of
It's internet culture,
tedious.
man. People
Yeah, it's
like
awful.
their clickbait titles and then they draw a conclusion from that. It takes a lot of work to actually read through stuff. Like there's a patent going, obviously I want to talk about Charlie Kirk, not all this stuff, but
Yeah, of course.
there's a patent thing going on with Pokemon right now, and it's like a 40-page
Oh, I saw that.
document. You know what
So
I'm saying?
stupid.
It's a headline, but it's actually a 40-page document. So I've been trying to read through some of that to actually get the full story, because at a glance is, Nintendo's fucking stupid, but they're still going to be stupid at the end of it. But like, what is the severity of the stupid and what is the actual implication for the industry? That's all to say that, like, at the end of the day, it's very easy to react to headlines, and especially when you're in the cycle of reacting every day, you don't have the time. People have their jobs and everything too, and their responsibilities. They don't have the time to go and deep dive into everything. So I don't always blame people for reacting to the clickbait stuff, but at the
Yeah.
same time, it's not getting us anywhere, because
No.
it's just creating more divide and anger and misinformation as a whole, right? It's just making issues worse.
So to bring it back to like what you said, where like you took some time before you responded to
Yeah.
anything, I didn't, I did a nice big response because I wanted to really put it out there. I didn't do that response until after dinner tonight.
What's your response? I didn't see it yet.
Oh, here I'll put it up. Do I still have it?
It's okay
So
if you don't. I'm just
no, I have it. I read it earlier, but I can read it again.
I don't want to be
Well,
the person's like, yeah, totally, and it's like, I don't know what you're saying.
no, that's okay. So here, I'll read it again real quick. It's taken me a long time and a lot of reflection to write this because I'm still not able to process everything that happened. I'm not one to really care or feel much about celebrities passing, but this one hits different. Growing up in the Northeast as a conservative leaning person wasn't always easy. It's always been popular and acceptable to try and dunk on or make fun of that conservative person. But I always loved sharing my opinions, debating, and having dialogue with anyone about my stances. That's what Charlie Kirk was attempting to do on a grand scale, and he was very successful at it. Now, I didn't know Charlie Kirk, but I interviewed a handful of people that did know him, and in the early phases of my podcast, shared some DMs with him about coming on the show. That never worked out, but Charlie was always a person I wanted to have a conversation with. He was a conservative that was unafraid to express his worldview, but he believed that open dialogue with those you disagree with was the answer. When he started Turning Point USA, it was at the height of the Obama administration, and at that time, being a Republican was synonymous with being a racist. People at work, kids in college, and everyday people were afraid to express their views out of fear of being labeled. Charlie stood against that and set out to find middle ground and keep people talking when it was so easy to be divided. At only 18, he saw and knew that the only way to stay one as a country was to continue trying to be neighbors. The reason Charlie Kirk was assassinated was because he was effective and a threat to a radical, evil ideology that had been festering in our society and throughout history. He helped thousands of college-age kids realize that they are not alone on their campuses and it's okay to express their views. They weren't racist, bigoted, transphobic, homophobic, or whatever label was put on them. He was a leader. In this hard time, it's easy to let anger win. I know I felt plenty of it. But Charlie wouldn't want that. He wouldn't want us to fight violence or violence. He wouldn't want the movement to go to the level that those who wanted him silenced have been cheering. What he would call for is more rigorous dialogue, more exchange of ideas, and for conservatives to sit up taller and express their views intelligently and with vigor. The goal was to assassinate Charlie Kirk in broad daylight. The larger goal was to create fear in the hearts of those who think like he did and are willing to speak out. But we cannot be scared. We must now get louder, work harder, and know that if we follow our hearts and the teachings of Christ, we will prevail against evil. The example has been set. Charlie Kirk showed us the way to be a better people and reconnect with those that disagree with us. It's our job to make sure his death was not in vain.
That's beautifully said. And yeah, I agree with every bit of it. I am personally not on the side of calming anyone down about this at this point. I'm just going to be very transparent about that. I understand where Charlie Kirk comes from, and I understand people wanting to honor him in the way that he would treat debate. I am personally not taking any time to calm people down because I think people need to understand how severe the situation is. So I know there's also people that like want the footage taken down of what happened to him. And I understand it's really difficult to watch. And I feel for his family who has to see that and everything. But like we've had back to back between that girl on the, on the train and this and the visceral reaction. Like while I hate that people are feeling pain from that, this has been festering for so fucking long, man. So long. And there are a lot of us who have been sitting here saying, we got to do something because this is getting out of hand. This is getting to a point where there is going to be situations like this eventually. And it's so heartbreaking to see us now at this point where this is happening. And I hate that it's just human nature to finally understand and absorb something when you actually see the thing happen, because I'm very much a like, let's prevent this. But people on average need to see it in order to truly understand what we're fighting against. So I understand like your sentiment on what he would want. And that's the thing. They killed the nice guy. They chose the target. It's like, this is the guy who would shake your hand when he disagreed with everything that you fundamentally felt in your soul. This is the man who would still sit there and have a conversation and listen to you and be respectful. Mm-hmm. He was very respectful.
He was great with that.
You might disagree with his opinions on some of that stuff. I mostly agree with what he said. I was not like an avid watcher, so I wasn't coming from a side of
I was a clip hunter when I saw him.
I've seen like a few of the things he does, like when he does go on the college campuses and stuff. I wasn't somebody who's like a diehard fan. Like I watch every day. Like there are people like that I will tune into literally everything they do. And Charlie wasn't that person for me. And I think it was just a personal thing of like, I almost needed more like aggression. And I love what he was doing. Don't get me wrong. And I appreciate him for it. And he was doing it the right way. And I've like so much respect for him even before all of this happened. But I'm just someone who needs a bit of like fire, like an Alex Stein yelling about stuff, like that's kind of my thing. I mean, look at who I'm dating. It's obvious that I'm someone who needs the aggression, right? I need the passion, the energy. But Charlie was doing excellent work, and they chose the target of the person who wanted to sit and have conversation. And that message to me is, you don't want to have conversation with me. That's exactly what I'm being told. So I'm not going to calm anyone down.
I understand that completely. And I think we do need time to be angry.
Yeah.
But I think people need to also understand, if the right does respond, like say there is somebody that does respond, that's exactly what civil war looks like in the modern age. It's not going to be malicious. It's not going to be this standing army going against that standing army, or this town forming a militia versus that. It will be tit for tat. It will be large scale mass murders on both sides. And I think that that's the last thing we want to do in Charlie's name. That would be the last thing that he would want. And I understand your anger at the situation. And I get the way you're looking at it. The way I look at it is, he was so fucking effective that they had to take him out.
Yeah. I agree.
And that shows me that he was doing it the right way. That he was able to change people's hearts and minds, and they saw how effective it was because he was willing to sit down and have that conversation. Because he wasn't, Steven Crowder does something similar, but Steven Crowder can be mean, right? Steven Crowder does that. Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, Michael Knowles, very condescending, super high level intelligence, and
Yeah.
they let you know it. Charlie Kirk was smarter than basically everyone he talked to, but you never knew it. He didn't do that to people. He
Yeah.
made you feel inviting. He had a great smile. And listen, I like Alex Stein too. I think Alex is great. And the people I generally listen to are fiery, like, right? Like,
I mean, I'm a huge Alex Jones person. That is like, I've
yeah.
been watching him for like almost 20 years at this
I
point.
listen to Glenn Beck every single day. I love Pat Gray Unleashed on the Blaze. Keith Malinak's been on the show before. That's a fiery place. Like I do. Like I listen to Timcast for Phil Labonte because I think Phil's out of his mind, and I love Phil. It's like that's where I go, and I listen to side scrollers every day because I like Craig and his fire and Blabs and the people he has on. Those are generally like my 4 that I go to, and then like I'll sparse in some if I have time for others. But I think that there's a time for both things. I feel like this is a possible tipping point.
It has to be. If this is not a tipping point, there's nothing.
If there is another prominent figure on the right that has something happen to them, it doesn't have to be murdered, but something major, an attempted assassination or something, I think we could see the edge go down. And that's what I'm fearing, that Jesse Kelly put on there, like, we should do the largest conservative rally at that same exact spot.
Yeah.
And I would love that. But at the same time, it's like, we all have podcasts now. We don't have to go and do those things so openly anymore. Maybe we can let that cool down a little. It's hard.
Look,
so hard.
I get that, but I also go to like, that's what they also want, is for you to be hiding because
Yeah.
you're like, okay, I'm in threat of my life. Look, I don't want anyone to be in threat of their life at the end of the day. I don't want that. Obviously, it's this is free speech at the end of the day. And, that's why it makes me so angry what happened to him, because he literally got assassinated for free speech. So
Do you think there was a setup? Do you think there was an actual, because it seemed orchestrated? The way that the
comes
question was
across
asked
professional
about
to me.
the way that the question was asked, I think the person asking the question needed to be detained because they were asking about trans shooting. That very moment, the person that shot the rifle, they found the clips with the trans things inscribed and Antifa stuff inscribed on it. You had that old man randomly screaming, "Shoot me," and getting arrested.
Yeah,
Which
what
seemed,
the hell is that
it
about?
seems like he was a decoy to
It
let
feels
the
like he was
person
the
get
fall
away.
guy. Yeah.
Not even the fall guy. I feel like he was a part of the plan because they know they can't actually arrest him
Yeah.
because he didn't do anything. But just to be a wacko, you don't get fully arrested just yelling something. It's a weird situation. And why are you doing this? But if the police can't prove anything, now, it really seems like this was a planned hit. Like this was a out of the movies type of everything is timing. Okay, when this person asks the questions about trans, we're going to let him give an answer and then follow up and then shoot him. And then once that shot happens, it seems too damn perfect.
Yeah.
For everything. The fact that the shooter is still at large absolutely seems like there's someone or something helping them out. It just seems orchestrated to take out arguably the second biggest person in the conservative movement right now.
Yeah, I mean, Charlie Kirk is the reason why Trump got elected, in my opinion.
100%.
He was opening up so much conversation to younger people, and that was a demographic that conservatives typically didn't have. They didn't have that demographic. So, yeah, I think he's very much responsible, along with Scott Presler as well, for Trump getting in. And
I'll give a shout out to Cliff Maloney. We had Cliff on the show. He knocked on 500,000 doors in Pennsylvania.
Oh wow, I've never heard of Cliff.
Yeah, at PHAs. Yeah, go look up Cliff. Cliff's fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna look him up. Yeah, no, it's so. I do feel like there must have been some kind of orchestration to it. I just don't know like what the end game is of it, or it's so hard at this point to figure it out because there is so much incentive for people to target him. Like there's so many people. The thing I had where I'm like, okay, this must have been like an organized hit similar to what happened to Trump, right? Like that was my whole thing. But then you see like these people and they're like teachers in a random city and they're like celebrating his death. There's like guy in Seattle that's like walking around in a fucking bucket hat or some shit being like, I would have killed him myself and all this stuff. It's like normal people, normal. I don't consider them fucking normal. I consider them demons.
They are demons at this point.
What people would consider like an average person in an average job in your town is saying that this person should be dead, and they're celebrating the fact that he's dead. So is it somebody who's disgruntled? Did a bunch of people, like, similar to how Antifa used to be in, the streets? I don't know how Antifa is now, but I remember the height of it in, like, 2016, where it wouldn't be safe to walk in certain cities like Portland and
No.
stuff because you'd
Well, they
get
had
attacked,
zones.
right?
They took over zones. There was a
Yeah.
Chaz and Chop zone that they claimed as their own. They were autonomous zones that nobody was allowed in.
So is this, like, people organizing themselves in a group like that, or is this, like, at a higher deep state level is what I'm just trying to navigate, and I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't have
yeah.
the answer right now, but to me, again, not someone who watched Charlie Kirk every day, but everything I'd ever seen about the guy, every testimony I've ever heard from anyone, before his death and now after learning a lot about him, he would have been a president at some point or at least a vice
100%.
president, and so it's
100%.
to me, it's like, are you just targeting people that are able to change the country for the better? Is that what's going on?
And, when it comes to like the teachers and like ordinary people, you have to remember they're all college educated, and the colleges have been
Mhm.
captured for the past, God, since the 60s is when they started to infiltrate. Cause you got to remember most of the Weather Underground people, if they got caught or pardoned, they all became professors.
Mhm.
Bill Ayers, who was a part of the Weather Underground and bombing and was a close confidant to Barack Obama, is a Harvard professor. The guy's a terrorist. There's terrorists that are
So
professors
fucked up,
everywhere in the
man.
United States, and they are teachers of Marxism and socialism, and they have been festering this, and it is massive. So you're getting these teachers who are raised in this theory and
Mhm.
believe this is the correct way. So then they're told that Charlie Kirk is a Nazi, that we're all Nazis, we're Hitler supporters, we're bigots. And, you know, not understanding that Nazis are actually on the left, which is actually funny to me that, it's a
I
left
know,
theory.
they don't fucking
Um,
get it, man. I've been called
but
it's probably, like, my 10 or 15-year anniversary of being called a Nazi at this point. I don't even know.
well, now you're a racist too. That's a big thing. You're the
Yeah.
resident racist of side scrollers.
I
So
am the resident racist. Blabs tweeted out about, slur gummies. She meant sour gummies, and I was like, "Where can I get one? I have to have them. I'm the resident racist." So, no,
oh,
it's yeah, like I said, just embrace it. They call you racist. Okay, yeah, I am. I'm
yeah,
just
you're
a very
taking the
much
power away.
like again, Canadian lens for me. So I see like really retarded shit here, and like just people spinning like stories that I'm just like, what? How do you even get there? It's like I wish Trump was that person that you think he is. I wish Charlie Kirk was that person that you think he is, because you don't understand what you think the world is. If you think this stuff is all intense now, like you don't know what's coming, because it's
We are so
crazy.
pampered. We are so pampered in the
So
West. We don't
insane.
understand actual strife. We don't understand actual hardship. I've said before, the fact that me and you are going to go to bed tonight,
Mhm.
and when we wake up tomorrow, we're going to flip on our lights and we're going to expect it to turn on. We're going to go to our
Yep.
faucet and turn on the hot water and expect it to get hot. Our house is going to be a certain temperature because we know when we set it, it's going to work.
Yeah.
And those are luxuries. We don't have to fix the hole in our roof every day because it might rain. Like, those are the luxuries that we have in Western society, that we now have enough time to care about stupid, petty bullshit because we don't have to
Exactly.
worry about how we're going to survive. Where's our next meal? It's such a terrible way, and a terrible way to live your life, where all you want to do is complain. All you want to do is whine. All you want to do is look at what's other people have as compared to you. And it's like, it's so hard to get through to these people when you fucking went to college. You now have a
Mhm.
job. You're working at that job and you're still looking at it going, my life's not fair. Everything is wrong. This country's bad. This world is, how we need to stop this country to save the world. And it's like, if America, Canada, and Britain went down, the world economy would collapse in
Oh,
15
it's done.
in
It's done.
15 minutes, and everyone would starve.
Yeah.
Everyone would starve. They'd be eating each other within 2 weeks.
Yep.
And it's just, the ignorance is bizarre, and that's where you get these people who celebrate the death of someone who they have written as an other. And Jonathan Lezik and Jack Posobiec wrote Inhumans, and it's exactly about this. That book is exactly about all that they have been doing in terms of rhetoric and labeling
Mhm.
since George Bush has been getting this ready to go. Where, again, I've talked about it earlier on the show. I grew up during George Bush, John McCain, and Romney, when the Republicans were the party of, you just accept it. You get called, it's just politics. Don't argue back. When they call you a racist, you just don't fight back. Don't defend yourself.
Yep, I remember
And the
that.
difference is Donald Trump came in and was like, I'm not a fucking racist. You're a racist. Go away. And people weren't used to that. And that's what people are like. Everyone's like, we all need to tone down the rhetoric. It's gotten so divisive. It's like, no, conservatives are just willing to argue in public now. You
Yep.
don't have to turn away and be like, pretend like you didn't listen to Rush Limbaugh. You know what I mean? It was like, I was always an open conservative. So I took every single arrow. I didn't give a fuck. But I had most people I knew that were conservatives that were like, oh, I agree with you. I'm like, then why didn't you say anything? No, it's not worth it. It's not worth the fight. It's like,
Yeah,
okay,
people don't want to deal with it at the end of the day.
No.
I
I
think
don't
it's probably
blame
not
them,
as
but
it's not as bad in America, I imagine. In Canada, it's literally like the most complacent country in the world, maybe. Like it's just like
yeah, Americans
they
like to fight.
no one wants to fight with anyone here. I was wearing a shirt that would be considered offensive, like an InfoWars style shirt in Canada. And I
love
was
that.
walking down the street. And this was like 10 years ago. And a woman walked up to me, no joke, and was like, "Excuse me, miss, excuse me." Like, that's how they approach you. That shirt isn't very polite. I don't think you should wear that. Like, that's the culture of Canadians. Like, they're
You guys have
very
like a
just
very
like
similar branch of like British,
stupid.
because the British are very, very common and cordial like that too.
I
But
guess, yeah.
but the difference is though, it's like where Americans are brash, I've also heard we're also the most like randomly nice people, right? Like
Yep.
where in a lot of other places, it's really weird to strike up a conversation with a stranger. Where in America, like we could be standing on the same line at the supermarket and it's like you see someone wearing like an apparel thing and you're like, oh, how do you think they're going to do tonight? And it's like, I don't know, they suck. And it's like, it's a common thing here where I've heard other people going, the most bizarre thing is that Americans talk to random strangers like they're friends. And it's like,
Americans are really nice. The spin is that Canadians are nice. I actually think Americans are much nicer, but I've got the vacation lens on, right? Like I traveled to America as vacation, so I'm like, "Oh
but
my
hold
god,
on,
everyone's nice here."
but you're brown coming to America. Aren't they all racist?
Oh my god, they're so racist. No,
No.
everyone's so nice to me. Oh my god, I had so much fun every time I go to the States. Like it's so fun. And yeah, everyone's so friendly. I've made friends randomly just walking somewhere and it's like, "Oh, hey, what's up? Hey." And it's like I'm now friends with those people for life and I just met them randomly on the street in America. Like
When do we
that's how it
annex you
is.
guys? Aren't we annexing Alberta and Saskatchewan? Isn't that
I don't
happening?
Okay, so
I know you guys are voting. Aren't you guys voting to move away?
I don't believe any of that, first of all. Okay, so we listen, I understand from an outward perspective, if you're not in Canada, you might believe that this is a thing, or like if people are not like, I know you're very invested in politics, but I'm talking about like people in Canada that are not, that think it will actually happen. Um, Quebec has been trying to separate for fucking ever. For fucking ever. The separatist movement I was learning in like elementary school when I could barely write, and they were saying, "Oh, we gotta respect the French and they want to leave." By the way, the only people you can ever be openly racist about in Canada is French people. I will not go to jail for making fun of Quebec ever. Like you can make fun of French people all you want,
I think
but
that's a world policy. I think everyone
I
can
think
make fun of French
so.
people.
But so I grew up watching this Quebec separatist movement, which to this day they're still fucking talking about themselves and not the rest of Canada in every sense of the word, including, I think that they took votes from Pierre Poilievre as well during this pivotal election that we just had. So like it's always just about Quebec, Quebec, Quebec. They haven't left yet. They are not even in the middle of the country. They are on the edge of the country. There's a few islands, sure, on the East Coast, but otherwise they're like the last province on the East Coast. Just leave. You don't need to be connected to us. So if Quebec can't do it, and it's been like probably before I was born, like what chance do I have of seeing Alberta join? Like I just don't see it
Well, you guys
happening.
aren't going to leave either because you guys have a ton of the resources. Canada's economy would tank without Alberta and Saskatchewan because you guys have a lot of like
Fucked.
resources, oil reserves, things like that. Like they'd be fucked without you guys.
It's such a weird situation, like 51st state stuff, right? Like America would only benefit with the resources. Otherwise, you're taking on like the worst baggage possible. I don't recommend it.
Well, I
But
mean,
as a Canadian, we would love it,
I would take
obviously.
Alberta and Saskatchewan. You guys are pretty fair-minded. Now, I don't want Quebec. I don't want any of that shit. I don't want all
Dude,
that.
fuck
because
Quebec, man.
I mean, listen, I live in New York. I experience it anyway. Like, I'm not in the city, but there are a bunch of dumbasses here. So it's not very much different, except we don't force people to speak a language and only have certain languages on signs. Like, I wouldn't be able to survive there because you have to speak French. I don't know any French. Like, and I
Yeah.
was a big fan of, I still like the Montreal Canadiens. I'm a Habs fan. I would never go
Spoken like
see
a true hockey fan right there.
Yeah, I like Habs. Like, I love the Canadians. Listen, the most successful team when there was only 6, baby.
It's true.
But so I want to get to some of the comments here. I don't want
Of
to neglect
course, yeah.
our commenters. Proctafal saying, as I said earlier, this was the first time I ever heard of the guy with Charlie Kirk. So yeah, Proctafal comes on here for more of our like nerdy stuff and things like that, but not
Awesome.
very political. But I mean, Proctafal had a good comment earlier. Like, he doesn't agree with Charlie Kirk. He's not super on the side of the right, but he's vehemently against what happened to him.
Yeah.
Proctafal saying, "Oh my God, I didn't even think of that. With how cool people are online, there are gonna be people online that constantly throw those videos at them. Yeah, there's
I
gonna
mean,
be a lot of people.
I couldn't find this. I was trying to hunt for it, but Erica, Charlie's wife, is on Instagram,
Yeah.
and I saw some screenshots on Twitter that people were going over there and mocking her on her last post and saying, "Your children will grow up without a father." I haven't been able to find those comments personally. I don't know if they just have like a moderator that deletes that, which, in this case, like this poor woman, like let them be. I don't
I
know
was
if that's
saying
the case,
earlier.
but like I don't know. I couldn't find it, but I'm hearing that people are mocking her too, which is just fucking evil.
I was saying earlier with Erica and the family, when Erica says she's okay, stay with her. Somebody please have dinner with them every night. Go
Mhm.
with her to the grocery stores. Let them know, and the friends and family, like, don't let the
Yeah.
Kirks be alone right now. Do not, like, Erica is probably a strong woman. She was married to Charlie Kirk, had kids with him. You had to be strong to be with that public figure
Also
and
a woman of God
understanding,
as well. She's
woman of
very,
God, and
religious.
understanding that this was a possibility at all times. You
Course.
knew that going into this, but um, having to raise those 2 beautiful kids on her own and realizing that her bed will always be empty now, and that, you know, it's like I said, I couldn't imagine losing my spouse. I know you couldn't imagine losing James,
Yeah.
And I couldn't imagine seeing that. And I think the worst part is they were there.
Yeah.
I can't imagine, like, she's probably seeing it and having an out of body and not knowing what to think, and then having to be a mom right away. Like, she didn't
Mhm.
have time to fully be concerned for her husband because she had to make sure that her daughter was not seeing that.
Yeah.
It's so awful. RoboNext666 saying, "Don't lose hope. These demons are loud in their death throes." Yes, that
Yep.
is true. The leftists are losing, and this is a big sign that everything's been going on. They are losing. And a good sign is all these people that are getting fired. So, quick question with that before we get to a few more comments.
Mhm.
I forget who brought it up. I think Caveat Ties in here may have brought it up. What do you think about all these people that are getting fired? Are they going to be more radicalized? Are they going to become people that are potentially doing this? My opinion was anyone that was saying the shit they were saying were already fucked up and demented, so it didn't matter
Yeah.
if they were fired or not. What is your opinion? Is this going to be worse when they get fired or no?
Um, I guess the only thing I can relate it to is like economy is super bad here, and you're seeing way more crime here as a result of that. I mean, that's obviously, immigration and stuff too, but uh I mean, the more people that are desperate for cash who are not able to get back in the market, naturally they're going to radicalize more. But I mean, that's a result of their own actions. I mean, they're the ones that were saying that rhetoric. So,
Yeah. Proctafal saying, games like every other form of art aren't inherently political, but they can be politicized for personal gain. So that's something where, and I know, Kay, you could speak to this more, doing side scrollers more. If you're paying attention, Proctafal, to the people who are designing it and creating it, not only are they creating games with a message that is intended, changing things that are unnecessarily changed, adding things that are meant to give political leanings, but there's also things that the developers have been saying, and moderators and supporters and things, and
yeah.
they made it political. The right has not made this political. The left has fully politicized their games. And Kay, do you have anything to say to that?
No, I completely agree with what you're saying. And yeah, exactly. I mean, they are making it political because it used to be in universe politics. That is fine. I'm a
Hmm.
big Phantom Menace fan. Like I love like the Clone Wars episodes in Star Wars where they
Yep,
just
they're
talk about
great.
politics all day.
Yep.
I love that stuff. It's in universe politics. That is not what these people are doing. They are making it so you can't have escapism. They're
Oh,
putting in things to like make you feel bad, you the player. Oh, you feel like this, you should feel bad. Like, and then they'll do it to the point where you've got like Last of Us where they're sabotaging their own ending and storytelling
so stupid.
solely to tell a message. and make you feel awful about yourself again. Like there is no point. So that's my biggest thing is like in the actual games themselves. I mean, and it's such a rabbit hole because then you go into the quality is declining because they're hiring practices and they're not actually
When
hiring
you
people that are
have
passionate about the industry, right?
200 people that are devs making 100K plus a year, and now the game is, you wonder why the games are bloated to $500,000, 400,000, 300 million, and it's
Movie
sloppy.
budgets
And
for a
it's they're
fucking
they're more
video game.
expensive than movies. They are all more expensive than movies, and it's fucking slop because you have this person doing this little small thing, this person doing a small thing, and there can be no cohesion. There's not
Yep.
a possible way to make cohesion with that many people.
Yep.
JT Epsilon, Chef Carl's white persona saying, I don't know. I don't think Tetris is political. Here's the thing. Tetris may not be political, but if there's devs behind it that say dumb shit, then it becomes political. So, is that an inside joke with Tetris?
The Chef Carl thing is the
Yeah.
joke because I get called. People think I'm a white male on Twitter because of everything.
Well, you might
So
be.
I might be. That's true. So
We don't know if this is like AIU.
JT Epsilon has this running joke where he pretends he's like my sock account, pretty much like my alt account, and people believe it. Like people will get mad and believe it. So it's just a thing.
That's incredible that you can make so many of these comments while
I know while on the show. It's
yeah,
insane.
yeah, it's awesome. RoboNext666 saying anger is something that we need to process 100%. Of course, we do need that time, which is why like I think all these approaches and all of these voices are good. And also like someone like UK who's like, I'm fucking pissed, but you don't want it to go past being angry verbally, right? Like we can't be the ones to get physical back.
I'm not going to be the person with the baseball bat in the streets. Like I'm not saying that. I'm just like, let me use an example. Ariana Grande had a concert in the UK and people's daughters were there, young kids. I mean, Ariana Grande's audience is very young and that got bombed and many children died that day and parents were outside grieving. And what were they doing? They were singing that fucking Oasis song, Don't Look Back in Anger. And that was it. And it's, to me, it's just like, you just watched the future of your country die. Someone just terrorized and murdered your daughters. And you're sitting there singing Kumbaya while you see that. No, get angry. There's got
to be justice. Justice needs to be served.
There's too much complacency. And again, I come from a bias of being in a country that is very complacent. So that's why I am very much let people get angry because again, I walked on the streets yesterday. I didn't hear a single person utter his name. Not a single person, nothing on the news. Everyone's just watching stuff, like whatever, sports and stuff.
Oh, the shit that was on the news with MSNBC and CNN makes me wish they weren't fucking covering it though, because they were just being so disingenuous. And for CNN to write the article and to post and on their little whatever that's called on the bottom, that after the Wall Street Journal posted that there were trans ideology engraved in the bullets and Antifa stuff engraved in there, for them to write there were cultural references engraved in the bullets is so fucking disingenuous. It is meant to sit there and keep the rhetoric, right? Not sit there and tell their side that their side is the one that did it again. That whether this person is trans or not, they believed in the same shit. They believe that Charlie Kirk hated trans people, wanted trans people dead, and was doing everything he could to erase them. They believe that nonsense. And that's where I'm like, I don't think that the right's rhetoric is that bad. It really don't. Like, we have some shit, don't get me wrong. I have said, I've accused them of being evil before, right? And maybe not all of them, right? Like, we do get bombastic. I call them commies because most of them are fucking leftists and commies. But there's a difference between calling someone a commie in this day and age than calling them a Nazi and Hitler. Maybe if we were back in like the 60s, 70s, 80s, commie might be a little worse, right? Because that was the big Cold War time and things like that. Now, it's a badge of honor for these fucking people to be called a commie.
It's this like whole softening of language, misconstruing language, and just over time gaslighting people. Yeah, you're just gaslighting people into a point where they escalate to violence because they're just convinced that you are this thing that they've built you up to be. And I don't know how it's been for you. For me, I've been called these names for, I want to say, almost 15 years at this point. And it's just for me, it's like, okay, fine. I don't care. Use whatever label you want on me. It doesn't have power. Your words don't have power on me. But like at the end of the day, it still like will lead to things like this where people don't feel comfortable speaking. And I know people that have done speeches and stuff before, and I'm close friends with them personally, just outside of, what I do with Melee games and everything, and it's I'm scared for them. Some people that are slightly high profile,
I
and
mean, I'm scared
I
for
I
all of
I'm
us in a
worried
way.
about them,
In a way, I'm scared for like you guys too and things like that. And I texted some people that have been guests on the show that I know Charlie, and I've told them like I'm praying for them. Like I really want them to stay safe because they are a little more high profile.
Yeah.
We've had Shane Cashman on here of Timcast, and Shane's a popular guy, and Terry Schilling of the 1776 Project, Kevin Posobiec, and you know what I mean. And those people, they're high profile. People know who they are.
Yep.
I mean, Kevin and Jack got punched at a fucking Philly game a few years ago. Like,
It's fucking crazy.
it is wild. So Rob next coming back in. It's ironic. How do they think real Nazis convince people to hate Jews? Dehumanizing rhetoric. That's how it starts. You othering, you other somebody.
Yep.
Once the other, and that's the only thing I want to guard against is othering them, because in the end, in order to do proper justice, you still need to see them as people. I mean, I'm very
You're a
much in that
nicer
sense.
man
I
than I.
know,
You are a
because
nicer man than I.
being a student of history, and especially being on the right, if we respond in any sort of way in kind, we lose because we don't have the institutions on our side right now.
Yeah.
We have been so lax in America for 50 years that we've allowed every fucking major institution to be taken over. So we need to do it this way. There's no possible way, because if we get violent, while we may have the guns, are we actually willing to kill our friends, our neighbors, our family? That's where it comes down to. If we go that route in America, it becomes, like I said, civil war to the sense of small skirmishes, and actually, like, it's not going to be militias, but it's going to be a mass shooting here, a mass shooting there, a mass shooting here. Well, everyone else is trying to live their life. There's going to be people killing each other up the road, and that's going to be normal during the civil war that goes on. If it
I mean,
goes on,
I feel like that's already happening.
it could be. If
It's
there's a
happening,
right
like,
response, then yes. If
how many
conservatives respond, then yes.
how many white people have been targeted
Too
in
many.
these it's
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
It's
Oh yeah.
just not classified as that because that's not the popular thing to say. That's not the popular cultural thing to feel. But
We're
to me,
technically in civil strife.
it's
That's
already
what
happening.
they've classified it as, civil strife, which can lead to civil war. We're like right at the beginning of Bleeding Kansas. Like Bleeding Kansas can happen in any moment. And this could be it. This could be the Bleeding Kansas moment. But I do think there is a lot of the rhetoric, like I'm saying, where we're trying to keep heads cool. And
Mhm.
even someone who as bombastic as Nick Fuentes is trying to keep heads cool. I thought, as much as I think Nick Fuentes is a Fed and is a cuck, and I'm not a fan of Nick Fuentes at all.
Bro is a fad, come on.
Yeah. But he has been as calm and as eloquent in terms of the things that he's been saying online about this. And I think that's a real jump off point, because the Groypers will do whatever the fuck Nick says. So if Nick starts saying, you know what? Time for white America. The real America first is happening. Look what happened to Charlie Kirk. Groypers go. That's where it pops off. I think that, and he's a big factor there.
I mean, I guess he is having an uptick again. I've witnessed the lol cow side of it, which
Oh,
me and your
he's a
brother would
great
have a
lol cow.
great conversation over, where it's
Have
like
you been seeing the
hunting
AI?
for cum and shit, so.
Have you been seeing the AI videos of all the PPPs?
No, what's
Oh my god, I got to
my world is frozen for 48 hours with
I do
everything
have to put, this
happening,
has been
so.
going on for weeks. There's been someone making AI videos. You didn't see the one where this guy, I forget who it is. He did one of Ricada with the Baldo, and it's a AI video. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. One day, not this stream, because this stream is meant to be a little more somber, but
Yeah, of course.
I will have to send you those, and you will thank me for sending you there. David would be proud of me right now that I'm saying this. I want to say hi to King Robotnik. King Robotnik saying hello to us. And James chiming in saying, I saw those comments on Erica's profile. It's real. These people don't have a line. And that's
Yeah,
awful.
that's
James,
awful.
hello. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. I hope you feel better soon. And I mean, like you said, you don't know if it was like timing or really sickness. I think the stress may have caused it to get worse, because
Yeah, I don't know. It could be.
I have felt weird stress, but at the same time, Kay, I think you feel the same way. I'm not scared. Like, we can be
Yeah.
scared because we are outspoken. We are okay with being conservative. And
Mhm.
as small. Like, your channel is larger than ours, but like
No, I mean, you got
there's
everything
targets.
going.
But there's like, people do know. They might not pay attention, but they do know who we are. So
Mhm.
it's not, we all need to be careful, but we can't be scared. We have to keep doing what we do because again, Charlie would want us to be louder.
Yeah,
He would want
100%.
us to be louder. So King Robotnik over here saying, keeping her and her family in my prayers. This should never have happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Proctofile coming back in. I'm very aware of the attempts to force politics into games. I work with Gothic Therapy and actually explore the games themselves so that we can get the most objective opinions possible. Gothic Therapy is awesome, master at a TDS over there, and his wife doing great work over at Gothic Therapy. King Robotnik over on Veridark's channel. We've been trying to get her to play Tetris. Don't jinx it with Dustborn Tetris final minutes. Listen,
Why? No, not the Kingdom Hearts talk. God. The
we
final
do need to
mix.
get Veridark. Her unnecessary hatred of Tetris, like
I
it's
didn't know
like
she hated Tetris. What?
so that came out the other day on Side Scroller is that like she hates Tetris and
Why?
like Craig like was like saying like if I invited you to the next event and you had to play Tetris, would you come? And she's like probably not.
I had no idea that she had such a hatred for Tetris. Next time I
Hey,
talk to her, I'm gonna be like, "What is it? What is the
she's like
Tetris thing?"
she's like it's not necessarily that she hates it, it's just not a game she wants to play. And
Okay,
she has
that's
no
valid. I
interest in
get
playing
that.
it. But I
Yeah.
think she's pushed to hatred because once you say that, the internet now just you and your fanfics and everything like that. Like the internet just knows
The
and they
freaking
do things.
fanfics.
David coming in the clutch saying songs in the key of CWC. That's the
Oh,
channel.
yeah, I've seen that channel. Yeah, okay. I just
Yeah.
haven't caught up with the recent stuff, but I've
Oh,
seen it.
you had to see the one he did, the Baldo song. It's so good. And then all of them from all the things going on with the Kino Casino. Lord Slashane, what's up? What's going on?
Yo.
King Robotnik saying, I saw a comment along the lines of the left solely built up chaos from poisoning our schools and media to straight murder. The right bides their time until they explode in punishment. Yes and no. Because like I mentioned before you got on here, Kay, this isn't new. Leftist violence, leftist terrorism isn't new. The 1970s saw the weather on the ground and they did like
Yeah.
almost 200 bombings around the country. They bombed the World Trade Center. They bombed the Congress was bombed at one point by leftists. They do tree spiking. Like none of this violence is new. And the right believes in rule of law. So we have taken it. And the only way we won't take it is if we fully go to the right and go back to wanting to have a king, which
Mhm.
is where, like, and that's a juxtaposition I'm trying to get people to understand. The left goes to fascism and authoritarianism in that sense. The right goes to divine right rule of kings. That is the actual spectrum. If we go back to having like a king, all right, then we're going to fucking
I was
go.
gonna
Like,
say based.
I mean,
I'm kind of I would love divine right of the king. There you go. I don't know.
it all depends. If it's
God
Baron
Emperor
Trump, I
Trump.
might be in. Baron, give me Baron, baby. He's time traveling to come
Oh,
save us as King Baron.
Baron's gonna be coming in clutch for sure.
We have to
I'm
protect
worried
Baron
about
at all
Baron.
costs.
I am worried about Baron.
I
Like I
mean, I'm
said,
worried about all of them. I
of
realize
course, of course, but, there's just certain people that pop in your head that you're like, "Oh my," like JD Vance, and, like, there's people that I'm like, "Oh god," like, you
the
know?
one thing I do like about this administration, though, they're all incredibly bold, and I don't think any of them are going to back down. JD Vance already hasn't. I know Rubio's not going to. Like, I think he selected a good group of pillars. Stephen Miller is just going to go nuclear on everyone on the media. Like, he's going to do a media tour, just reprimanding everyone. I'm going to be there for it.
Mhm,
I think that's the difference between this administration and the last one. It's this administration is not scared to be proud of Trump's agenda and to tout it, whether it's right or wrong. There's things I disagree with, right? The
mhm.
Epstein files have been a fucking travesty.
Yeah,
Um,
I still don't get that,
I
but
still don't get it. But at the same time, no one's breaking ranks. That is a huge difference from Trump 1.0, where I dislike it,
well,
but
he
from
put himself
Cash,
in a swamp the first time, and now he's realized he
well,
needs allies in there, you can't do it alone.
yeah, yeah. So Rob Next saying Baldoverse new lore dropped.
Oh, no.
It's funny. I saw Ricada doing a react to like the Charlie Kirk things, and I was tempted to turn it on, and I'm just like, I don't want to watch Ricada.
No, I used to like Ricada back in the day, like, because Dick Masterson's the one that brought Ricada in, and then it was, like, Ethan Ralph that brought in all of them, really.
Yep, yep.
So I used to watch all of those people, like, early on before they had, like, an audience, really, and then, yeah, with Ricada, like, once this hot tub stuff started happening, I was like, "Bro, I can't." Like, you got, like, I didn't keep up with all of it, but like your daughters being exposed to like all this
It
stuff and everything.
it
It's
was
like
such a
I
wild
just
thing. David
can't.
kept me up to it. I didn't. David was the one that like because he's a Kino guy and they cover all of it. I mean,
It-
nothing's better than Kino going after Jeremy in the quartering, just shitting his pants all the time. We're
oh
talking
my
about it.
god, I know that's like a whole other.
The lore is deep.
I'm a very much I'm in the iDubbbz Kino thing. That's
Oh
like
my
my
god.
thing that I will watch everything that comes out. But with Nick, it's like the second the illusion broke and I realized that he's like not actually in as good faith as I thought he was, or actually as competent as a lawyer as I
Mm,
thought he was, and all this.
agreed.
It's like, because what didn't he represent Vic as well, like Vic Mignogna, the guy that like Dragon Ball guy or whatever,
Did
and
he
then
represent Vic Mignogna
or
in that lawsuit?
something.
Well,
I don't know if he
Vic did get
or
off
maybe
of
he
that.
recommended somebody or something, but
Maybe because I
Vic
think
got like kind of screwed over anyways. I don't know,
well,
but
he got railroaded.
yeah, there was just a bunch of like little seeds that started happening where I was like, how much like you're not a serious person, man. Like I know the illusion breaks when you reach a certain age and you're like, oh, these are all just like adults that are like
Yeah.
still acting like children that are doing serious jobs. And they don't actually know what the fuck they're doing. Like I get that illusion breaks eventually, but with Nick, I was like, whoa. So I think it was he recommended someone or
Maybe.
something, but
Listen, Vic's version of Dragon Ball Kai, his theme song in English was my favorite one.
oh yeah.
There was
No,
a few of them that sang, a few of the people like when they were translating the Dragon Ball Kai theme song. Vic was one of the ones that sang it. I think
oh wow.
I think Sean Schammel sang one. And they're pretty good. They're pretty good, but Vic's was my favorite. Lord Sloth saw K was on, thought I'd pop in for a bit. Been a rough last few days. It certainly has.
It
Thanks,
has
Lord
been,
Sloth.
brother.
We appreciate it. King Robotnik, it's moments like this where we need to come together. Yes, but there's certain people that we can alienate and excommunicate. There's certain people that don't belong with us until they want to come back in a proper society the right way.
I agree with the general sentiment, and
yes.
then I get to a point where I'm like, but how long can we just lay down and get fucking like destroyed by these people? I just don't know.
Well,
I
some
know that
people don't
that's not
belong in
even
polite society.
I know like Robotnik's not even saying anything like that. It's just like in my mind, I'm just like I can't be even remotely kumbaya. Like I'm just in like mode, you know?
And maybe eventually you will, right? Maybe in a week or two when things calm down, there might be that sense of, okay, we have to do this way, right? Like, because right now, listen, the anger, the wanting to lash out, it's all normal. It is. It's normal. Like I've been pissed. I am legitimately angry.
Yeah.
I'm angry more than I am sad. And I feel like that's wrong. I should be sad more for Charlie and his family. Like I feel like it's wrong to be more angry. Especially because, like, in a bizarre way, like none of us actually knew Charlie Kirk.
Mhm.
It's like what he did for the movement and what he did for the conservatives, for people like me and yourself to have our platforms and not get banned off of YouTube immediately. It was because of people like Charlie Kirk, and his rhetoric and being so good and articulate at presenting our values and things like that. So it's like, it's such a double-edged sword that we need the next Charlie Kirk. We need the next person out there that's willing to have that dialogue.
You said something interesting in there, and I think like the reason why it hits hard, yeah, we didn't know him at the end of the day. Again, I said earlier, I was not someone who watched this man every day.
Yeah,
Like there are people that I do watch every day, and I don't know what would happen to me if something happened to one of those people. But like the thing with Charlie, the thing is, again, this is not in any way insulting him. I just consider him fairly moderate
he is.
personally,
He's the most
and
milquetoast conservative you'll find.
and
He
that's
really
the
is.
thing that just like hurts even more is like you attacked the moderate guy. You murdered the moderate guy. And I
Mhm.
think a lot of people just feel this like I'll speak for myself and I'll say I'm more extreme than him. Like people have this view that I'm pretty moderate. I'm not. But
I
I'm
love
also
that.
in a country where you have to dance a little bit because there are things that you can say in your country and you'll be fine. Here, I'm
Well,
gone.
you're getting the British one soon too, because the British one is you can't say anything that may offend somebody.
Yeah,
Like I feel like
it's bad. It's bad. I mean, in Britain, what you can't say Muppet right now, but like
Britain's lost. Britain's lost. Britain.
here,
You want to talk about civil war? Britain's gonna go. That's gonna happen soon.
oh yeah, yeah.
You
No,
can only push
I
them so
see it.
far.
So, anyways, I think it just it's this feeling of like, man, you think his views are bad? Wait until you hear my fucking views, bitch. Like that's where I'm feeling. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
if you and that's also kind of where this feeling of like you are going to celebrate when I die for sure, because if you're
Mhm.
celebrating this guy, You will be so happy. So if there's anyone who is like a friend of mine who is celebrating this guy's death, I'm like, you're not my friend because you're going to celebrate when I die because you know my views. And, like, and there's people I love who have aggressive views as well. And it's just like, I can't stand in a world where somebody would ever celebrate like someone that I love dying. And I just put myself in the shoes of Charlie's wife, his
Yeah.
kids when they're unable to understand what's going on. Candace Owens, who again did a phenomenal 20-minute tribute and just showed like pictures and videos them like rapping together and singing and texting when he was like, trying to propose to his wife and just like these really personal stories. And it's like, I put my shoes in that. I'm like, I have people in my life that I have that relationship with who have more extreme views than
Yep.
Charlie Kirk. And they absolutely would celebrate those people in my life dying too. So I don't care. You're not human to me. You're not human to me. I get the argument of like once you dehumanize people, then because that's a big thing with the internet is like we're all dehumanizing each other to a certain degree because it's behind a keyboard, and so you just don't feel the same accountability when
Yeah.
you're saying things, and that's what kind of has escalated this on top of just so many other factors. But at the end of the day, if you're celebrating a man getting shot for speaking to people, you are not a person to me. It's my line in the sand. I can't view you as a person. I just
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
You are, especially if you've seen that footage.
And the difference is too, like, we excommunicate those on our side that do that type of shit. We pounce on them and
We
their
denounce
voices.
that shit all the time.
Yep,
We're like,
we go after
bro, you
that.
can't do
We
that, man.
can't do like, yeah, we're big about
God,
that.
God forbid this happened to anyone that was, on the other side or anything. I would be having the same emotional reaction because these
Yeah.
people deserve to speak. They deserve to feel comfortable. There should not be anyone in North America who, especially in America, the country that is idolized as like the freedom country, there should be not a single person in your country that doesn't feel safe going on a college campus and talking to people.
And
It's not okay.
we were the ones here on all the time going, we don't want Joe Biden to die. We just want him to leave. Like, we just want him to go be an old man somewhere and just
Yeah.
live his life. Like, go live your life. Like, well, all of us just wanted him out of power. None of us wanted him to die. And the same
Oh
thing with
my
Barack
God.
Obama and the
With
same thing with
Biden,
all these people. Like, I don't wish death upon any of them. I think that, but
I
the
felt
difference
bad
is
for Biden at a certain point because his health was clearly declining and people were,
it was elderly abuse,
abusing it and
100%.
everything. And it's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I just want this man to be able to live peacefully out his
Go
rest of
play
his
with
days.
his grandkids.
I don't agree with anything this man did. I don't agree. I hate him fundamentally for his views and everything he's done to people and the suffering.
And by
But
all
I will
accounts, he's
not
an evil
wish
person.
death on a
Yeah.
person. I will not wish death on a person.
Yeah.
I will not celebrate the death of a person. It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, we're talking about ideas.
There are very few people that deserve death. I put PDF files in that case. Like them, no remorse. They're already not human to me. I don't care about them.
I mean,
They,
again, we're talking about not human, right? This is the whole
yeah,
thing.
no,
So
PDF files, capital punishment on Monday Night Football at halftime. Like, I'd be okay with that. Just firing I think George Carlin made that joke about capital punishment. He's like, Monday Night Football, just rolling a giant brick wall in a cannon and just fucking launch them into the brick wall on Monday Night Football. Like, that would be entertaining. But, yeah, no, it's crazy.
yeah, I just when Biden's health was declining, it was very like I just, I want him to be okay. You please don't be in office. You're causing a lot of problems for people and you're just not meant to be here. But like, God, like don't let anything actually happen to the man. Just let him live peacefully the rest of
Yeah.
his days. And Biden, he's responsible for a lot of bad shit. He's also been through a lot in his life too, with his son dying and everything young. And so like it's a
And
twisted
his wife in
situation,
the skiing accident, his first wife died
Yeah.
in that freak skiing accident.
So it's like you have moments where you feel sympathy for people even if you completely disagree with what they've done
Of
or
course.
anything. It's just like again, you're just not right for culture or the country. That's it.
Well, you see it in Congress. A few weeks ago, you had the video of Elizabeth Warren falling, and the first person to grab her was Ted Cruz.
Yeah.
People who you would think are just completely and totally enemies, where Ted Cruz is a staunch defender of the Constitution, Elizabeth Warren is as much of a communist as you're going to get. But
Mhm.
when it comes to people upon people, it's an elderly woman that fell down, right?
Yeah.
Like if I was there, I think Elizabeth Warren is a terrible human. But if she fell down, I would do the same thing and reach up to her and be
Course.
like, Senator, are you okay? Like, the human side comes out. And I think that's where, unfortunately, as us on the right, we are all going to eventually fall back into that because we have the ability to right now we're pissed. We are seeing them as inhumans. But that same person that you deleted off your Facebook profile or you blocked, if you saw them in real life and they rolled their ankle and fell in front of a car, you'd fucking dive to go grab them.
I
And
would help them, but I'd be
if
like,
you
fuck
really
you.
looked at them as inhuman, you would walk away. That's the difference, where they would walk away from us.
Yeah.
That is the difference. And that's where because our belief in God and our belief in morality gives us a different view on things, on how to act and how to be responsible. So a few more comments. We have a ton here, and I appreciate all you guys. So what happens when I get Melee K in here, baby?
Nah.
Vera plays Tetris. Craig has to play Echo. I
Hey,
think
he doesn't like Echo the Dolphin? What?
he hates Echo the Dolphin.
Oh, no way. I'm not a huge
giving you-
Echo the Dolphin fan either, by the way.
I'm giving you ammo though to go next time you go back into side.
Well, I'm
scroller,
on
just get
Wednesday,
ammo
so
here.
I'm gonna bully him. So
There you go. Definitely bully him. King Robotnik saying she ended last stream with, I quote, Tetris is gay.
that's perfect.
Oh my god. King Robotnik saying they already predicted King Trump and this art look cool.
There's so many great videos and art and everything to like sabotage. Yeah, it's great.
And watching Gavin Newsom trying to do the same thing is so cringe. Like, and I
He
hate the word
is?
cringe, but it didn't. Oh, he did. He's trying to make AI art. Like he did one of him like with like a fake ear band-aid to make fun of Trump being shot. He did one of like fight
Fucking
like the
hate him, man.
fight pose. Here, let me see if I can go find these. Yeah, like while we do this, yeah, no, that scumbag who is now trying to bolt sides things and be like, oh, we need to tone it down. Like
It's because he
might be
met
the-
Charlie, right? Didn't Charlie interview him?
they did. I think I'm pretty sure they sat down. So thing is too, like Hassan has had some decent comments because him and Hassan were about to debate.
Piker.
Him and Hassan were about to debate in a few weeks, and
I have a hard
Hassan's
time believing
reaction
that.
was incredibly human.
I have a hard time believing that.
It was incredible. It was weird. It was incredibly human.
I saw him reacting. Okay, so I don't know what Hassan's initial response was, but I did see him reacting to Alex Jones crying, breaking down over what happened to Charlie Kirk, and him being like, "Oh, he's just like rage baiting and all this stuff." So it's like, no, I still don't think Hassan's good faith.
I mean, I don't think. I think even shitheads like that can have human reactions at times, right? Like, I don't think like. Again, like there's people love Anna Kasparian now, and I know I'm gonna piss off if Nate's in the chat. I'm sorry, Nate, but I think Anna Kasparian's still a piece of shit. I don't trust Anna Kasparian. You know, like
what
I think,
a weird situation with that. She just realized, oh, this is what it's like in LA. It's like, yeah, this is what your politics led to.
Yeah, but then also to sit there and come in on the only the Palestinians are right. Like, I honestly, here's the thing: I don't give a fuck about that war, but
I don't either. I don't fucking care.
But I can also sit there and know, like, for me, my whole perspective is I believe in like 5% of what Israel says, and then I believe in like 2% of what Hamas maybe says, maybe more like 0, because I don't think I don't believe anything with Hamas.
You brought this up, so I have a question for you. So I'm seeing this thing. I don't know if this is a Canada exclusive thing once again, of people saying, "Why should I be upset over Charlie Kirk getting assassinated?" They're not using assassinated. They're like, "Oh, dying," when there's children in Gaza dying. Like, are you seeing that stuff? Because I'm just like, what? Where is this?
Some of it. Yeah, it's pathetic. It's pathetic. Yeah, I've seen a ton of that. I've seen a lot of, you know, instead of like thoughts and prayers for kids that are killed in schools and things like that. And it's like, it's just
can we have space
to
be upset about multiple deaths? Like, that's just crazy to me, to use it as a crutch to justify not being upset that this happened. That's my problem with it, is that it's like trying to soften the blow of what happened and being like, why don't you care about this? And I've seen people point out, well, you know, he's a white man, so that's why everyone cares all of a sudden. No, I don't. It could have been anyone. It could have been fucking anyone. I don't even want to name names and put it out there. I'm just saying it could have been anyone on any side, and I would have had the same visceral reaction if they died in the exact same way for the exact same purpose. Well, even if I disagreed with everything they said.
They've been pointing out online about the 2 Minnesota legislators that were killed by a guy who was like a registered Republican, but that guy was appointed by Tim Walz and friends with Tim Walz. He was donating to Act Blue for like years before that. He wasn't a Republican. You want to know why he killed them? Because they voted with Republicans on a trans rights bill. That's why he went and killed them. This guy was no Republican, but that's what they're pointing to, because the guy was a registered Republican. Like, it's so bizarre. So here are some of the Gavin. Yeah.
I was gonna say, what is with all this like simping for troons? Like, I just don't get it,
Well,
man.
listen, these are the same people that like love whatchamacallit, Luigi Mangione. They made this guy a martyr.
Yeah.
So these are some of the things he's been posting. So
Oh fuck. Like what?
this is from his actual account too. Like this type of shit.
That is the gayest boomer shit ever. Like, oh,
Yeah,
look at
yeah.
Trump, the little
This
baby. Look at him crying. Like, what the fuck? Do you
like
shit your pants while you're posting that shit?
he's trying to be Trump in
It's
so many
not
ways.
working.
Like, look at this shit.
This is, oh my God. This is so cringe. Sorry.
The
I
thing
just
is, it's
can't.
like Trump is actually funny. That's the difference. Gavin Newsom, we just know that he's a lizard. So it's like knowing that there's a lizard underneath that skin suit every night. Like we can't, like it's God. That
When
guy.
you know the values that they hold behind that, it just doesn't work. And also, the Trump thing was very organic. The
Yeah.
memes about Trump were very organic, you know? So
And the
it's
thing
like,
is,
I'm not saying it even feels that way now because I'm sure there are people who realize, oh, there's something here and they're making stuff. But like the initial swelling was very organic on the internet. So that's why it
yeah.
feels natural. This does not feel natural. It feels
And on
fucking
top of
stupid.
that, we've had years of Trump just being Trump. We know that he's an asshole. We know he makes fun of people. We
Yeah.
know he likes to be a dickhead. Like we know this. Like he's your typical New Yorker that likes to fuck with people. So we've seen it on TV. We saw it in the 80s when he was doing his thing. So to have Trump just continue now that internet's a thing, he continues to just be a troll and an asshole. It's very natural. We all expected it. It was funny as hell.
He's a troll
So
and an asshole to some degree, but he's also very respectful to people in business. I read his book, so
yeah,
it's
yeah.
very interesting reading like Art of the Deal and like it just there's so much knowledge there. I almost want to read it again and just like
I'm
pick it
sorry if
apart.
you know he didn't write that, right? There's no way Donald
Well,
Trump wrote that. He's too
I have no
stupid.
idea. Yeah,
He's
why
an
would he write
idiot.
that?
Don't you
I
know
was
that
like,
he's an
wait, did he
idiot?
actually not write that? Like,
No,
sound
no.
like him? Okay, I was
I'm
like,
pretty
what?
yeah.
I was like, it's
It
smart anyways. Whoever wrote it, they're smart.
listen, the words are like the way it's written is in his cadence. So whoever did it was like like you can when you read Art of the Deal, you can hear Donald Trump's voice as he's writing.
100%.
Like it's hilarious. Like, so
Yeah.
caveat ties coming in. Better to be ruled by divine rule than commie Nazi. See, I don't believe that. We ran away from divine right to rule for a reason. I never fucking want a king again. I will actually go to war with my own side. I will start destroying people on my side to not have a king. I do not believe in that. I would rather dismantle the republic and bring it back than have a king. Which I
Interesting.
think I am calling for. We need to start having people out there willing to have the Federalist anti-Federalist debate again. I think that our country needs that because I think our republic is in a crosshairs and it is in a terrible spot. And I think that what we're doing now isn't working. But I would love for us to do the modern day Federalist anti-Federalist debate.
Interesting.
I think that's what we need. But no, I will fight everyone over a king. I do not like dictators. I do not like authoritarians. I don't like kings. That you will hear me go with violence in Minecraft. Caveat ties, not that I want that either. Okay. Robonex saying can't unsee Ricada degeneracy.
Bro, same. I can't do it. It's there, and I'm like, I can't take you seriously. It reminds me, and I feel bad about this because I actually know him, but like Mundane Matt, when he had his face reveal, I was like, man, I know it wasn't on his own will, but it was just like, man, you're so much cooler when you're just a skull. Now it's like, oh, it's Mundane
what are we
Matt.
gonna do when people find out Yellow Flash? We got to get a Yellow Flash reveal at some point.
I mean, I'm in a world where I support people being anonymous for the record.
Oh,
like
yeah,
I don't want that shit happening. It's just an
I think it's
unfortunate thing that happened to Mundane Matt, and I can't unsee it ever.
I just think it's really funny. All like the Ethan Van Sciver simps that try to like be like, we spotted Yellow Flash and stuff, and they have a rivalry going there, and it's
You know,
I don't understand it. And the funny thing is, EVS came on the show a while ago before
really?
he went fucking crazy with the Rippaverse stuff. But it was when he was about to start working with Rippa and doing he did one of the concept covers for ISOM. He like even Van Sciver did a cover for ISOM. And I don't know that whole thing. Ethan's gone fucking crazy.
You know about it more than I do because I was very much a Gamergate person, and then I sound like a fucking asshole maybe, but I looked at Comicsgate and I was like, nah, bro, that just seems like a shit show, which I'm sure is what people felt about Gamergate, but I was just there like in the beginning and I understood it from the ground up and was there from beginning to, well, it doesn't end, but you know, the ups and downs. Comicsgate, I'm just like, this is just everyone constantly screeching at each other. I don't understand who likes who or what or why or someone licking a
Comicsgate
toilet or something. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? I can't.
Comicsgate could have been good, and it started off in the right place because like Ethan was leading that charge coming out from being a mainstream, comic book artist, a successful one. And,
Do you work with DC or something or what?
he was with DC. He did, oh God, he was responsible for one of like their main villains of the Lantern Corps, I believe, or something like that. Like
Oh shit, okay.
yeah, he has like mainstream success. Um, and he was always a conservative, and then it hit a boiling point, and he was like, "Fuck you guys, I'm gonna go do my own thing," which is like based, right? And he started Cyberfrog, and I actually think Cyberfrog's pretty good. He's a talented artist.
I fucking went to like a retro game store, like a bit outside of my city,
Yeah,
and I saw a Cyberfrog like figure for sale there. And I was like,
that's
what the isn't
pretty
this
sick.
guy from Comicsgate or whatever? I was like, I just
Yeah,
recognized the character.
he does all caps comics, and like I still don't mind Ethan. Like I think he's crazy, and I hate the fact that he attacks people now that I know and that I like. Like I like the G&G guys. I like Rippa. I think that what he's doing with Rippaverse is fantastic. Like I read his comics, I support him and all those people, and I like Yellow Flash and things like that. So to me, it's just dumb because
Yeah.
that's like the divide that's unnecessary, right? Like if you put Comicsgate and you put Rippaverse together, and if these people stop being retarded and start using Ripasend, because that's what Eric July wants. He wants to use Ripasend to get these indies out and be that publishing house for them so
Mhm.
that they don't have that blockage and that barrier of like, indies that are fucking woke and crazy. But they're too busy with their heads up their ass. It's insane that they could be using this resource of a guy and they complain like, oh, well, Eric cheated because he already had 3 million followers off his base. And then he's like, okay, so he was a guy that people liked and they know he's a nerd and he wants to put his money where his mouth is and we're going to get mad at him for that. Like the whole thing is fucking stupid.
That's
I
so
think it's so
interesting.
dumb.
I feel like I need to like talk to you and your brother at another point if you guys know more about comics because I'm just looking at I'm like
I know
I don't
peripheral.
fucking understand any of this. I just
David bowed
know
out
that
of it. He hates it.
there's people that hate other people and they all scream at each other and then like one of the girls is like she used to review movies or something and then she like gets pissed on by her boyfriend or something and then like this is the information I'm
Well,
gathering in my brain. I'm just like what the fuck is
here's the
happening? And
thing.
then there's
One
Ripa
side is
as well,
preaching.
which I'm like so confused because like Ripa like came across as a bit of a spurg to me in the beginning. Again, I don't know anything about him. I saw him like spurging sometimes, and he must have like someone fantastic in his ear, whether it's a PR person or what. I don't know, but it like 180'd, and all of a sudden I was like, okay, he seems like fine, and like things have been going really well for him. So like happy for him for success, but like I used to see him like freaking out at people and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden it just completely turned around. He cleaned it up and it's like there's nothing to real like I'm sure people have complaints, but I'm like he's made it so it's very hard to complain about him now compared to before and it just kind of got swept up. So that is my extent of the knowledge on this. And I
Yeah.
just go,
No,
I
it's
don't fucking care. I like video games and politics and I just dodge the comic shit.
It's honestly right now it's Comicsgate spurging at Rippaverse and Rippaverse just kind of ignoring them because Rippaverse is doing great things. Like
Yeah.
their comics come out on time. They have the Saska sisters. They have Chuck Nixon, Chuck Dixon working with them. They have like some legitimate names that left DC and Marvel to come and draw for them and write their stories. And I mean, the early issues were they perfect? No, but I mean, there's a good story there. He promised never to do a multiverse. If people die in that universe, they die, which I fucking love. And I mean, yeah, it's honestly, it's not worth diving into because it's so fucking lame.
Yeah, it
It
seems
really
fucking
is. It
vague.
is lame. The only reason I know about it is because I still follow Ethan. Like I like following my past guests and stuff like that. And then I see just off the peripherals when he's trying to like dunk on them, and it never works. And he does Trash Cast, and Trash Cast is based all off of going after Rippa and Yellow Flash. That's all it is.
Like I said,
It's
I kind of get it because probably from the outside, Gamergate looks retarded too. But I'm
But
just
Gamergate
so
had a
in it.
purpose.
So
Gamergate was against leftist journalism infiltrating and trying to make gamers look like something they weren't.
yeah,
Like and having the that friggin' whore opening up her legs to all the fucking devs and everything. It's Gamersgate had a purpose, and it was similar battles we always have. Leftists trying to do shiesty shit, and normal people, not even necessarily conservatives, becoming red pilled because that shit's fucked up. And obviously, Carl Benjamin, Sargon had a major play in that by really enlightening everybody to what's going on. That's how we knew who Sargon was. That's where he started. And Gamersgate had a purpose. There was a reason why Gamersgate existed. Comicsgate started off with a purpose, and now it's just who the fuck knows? Who knows? I don't know what it is. I honestly have no idea. We'll get to a few more comments here. And then, Kay, I appreciate you, but I'm getting tired. So we're going to get
Yeah, do you think, man?
What do we got here? Caveat Ty saying, I first discovered Ricada from what's his name's trial. I think it was when they were doing the Depp trial, a lot of them. Wisconsin self-defense kids, brain fart. I know what you're talking about with Wisconsin.
He could have had a Netflix show. He could have been like so big and he just dropped the bag. I don't know what happened there.
King Robotnik, I heard a lot of people say nothing is going to happen with the right. They'll complain and move on in a few days. I heard people say this on the George Floyd movement. I'm here just waiting. They're probably right. Probably nothing will come. There'll be a lot. But thing is, the difference is the right doesn't get violent typically. That is why everyone's expecting the violent response. The left responds with riots. If this was a role reversal, and I don't know who's a prominent figure on the left. Sam Cedar, maybe. If Sam Cedar was doing something and Sam Cedar got killed, or Cenk Uygur or Hassan Piker, which again, full disclosure, I want none of that to happen to any of those three. But if that were to happen, the role reversal would be insane. But the thing is, though, the right would be going, we agree with your anger, stop rioting. That's not the way to go about it, but we're with you on being pissed about this. It would be such a different environment. We would be condemning the riots that would have happened.
So you don't think we're getting a summer of love too, but on the
no,
other
what
side,
it's going to be is a summer of love, maybe celebrating the fact that they killed Charlie Kirk. It'll be
it's
like
crazy.
celebratory riots.
Yeah. I know.
Ricada recommended a family friend who did real estate law. Bro got so screwed. Also, didn't Vic say he didn't see a penny from all the donations Ricada collected? I didn't know that.
Way.
No fucking way.
That's
I would love to talk to Vic. I like Vic. I thought, his voice of Brawley. He is my Brawley. He was fantastic in that role. King Robotnik, the Gubble Gang plus Alex and Caveat Ties come together. Outsiders get checked at the front by Grok Chan. King Robotnik also saying Charlie opened a hand of connection and they took his arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what hurts, man. That's what hurts.
This one hurts. I want to hear Dark Chef. What else?
They call me Chef because we were playing Overcooked together, me and James, and I hate that game. It's stressful. And James at one point was just going, Chef, pass the lettuce, Chef, I've got the beans, Chef. Like, and I was like getting so mad. And I was like, stop saying Chef. So he just said Chef more, and now everyone calls me. Well, there's a whole. Anyways, the chef thing is literally just to make fun of me because I hate the word chef right now.
Honestly, I think
Chef is spoken.
I think Chef needs to be like your pen name now on your fanfic.
I don't want it.
That's it. Chef and her fan. That needs to be like your Tumblr. You need to bring back a Tumblr.
No.
You're being too reasonable, Carl. Maybe.
Impossible.
Lord Slosh, we become the tolerant right, whether we're centered or not, because they put us here. And now they're actively attacking anyone outside of the progressive scope. We can't be tolerant anymore. See, that is the thing that they want. They want repressive. Here's the thing. If you understand Herbert Marcuse, you understand repressive tolerance. This is where this is coming from. This is Saul Alinsky, Herbert Marcuse. Herbert Marcuse specifically wrote in Repressive Tolerance that in order to be successful, we must tolerate all violence from the right and denigrate any action, all violence from the left, and denigrate, condemn, and come down hard on any action on the right. It's exactly what happened in J6, and it's what we saw with Summer of Love being condoned. And this is what the leftists want. And then Saul Alinsky, this is Saul Alinsky's escalation rules. And the only way it ends with leftists is war. Or you take them out politically from power. Those are the two ways that it happens. Little skirmishes are not going to solve anything because they are much more willing to escalate over and over and over. And that is not something that we need in America right now under a Donald Trump presidency where he's actually getting shit done. They're trying to derail him as well. Because, Kay, imagine that. Imagine if we go to fucking civil war under Donald Trump, who's actually trying to help the immigrant situation, who's actually trying to balance things out worldwide economically. It would fucking derail everything. And that's exactly what they want. And we can't do it. We can't give in.
I get it. We want the best out of the time that he's in. And, he has gotten a lot done. I don't agree with everything. Again, we mentioned Epstein stuff earlier. That's really been pissing me off. But I don't know. I feel I lean closer to what Slosh is saying, and I understand your perspective, and everything, and I don't wanna see people dying in the streets. I don't want it in my heart. It's one of those things where I'm tired of everyone rolling over. I'm not saying, like, go in the streets and beat each other to death. I'm just saying, like, I agree. It's like, what is the tolerance? Like, do we go back to the Ariana Grande thing again? Like, we're just gonna sing and, "Oh, no, it's so sad that our daughters died," and then move on. Who talks about that event anymore? I don't hear anyone fucking talking about it
No,
anymore.
no, I think I heard it brought
It's
up once not too
it
long ago.
burns in my brain, I think
Yeah,
about it
yeah.
so
Well, the
constantly.
Vegas
It's
shooter
just
too, the
so
sniper that no one ever found.
yes! So I think I don't wanna speak for anyone. I'll speak for myself, and where I feel like Slosh might be coming from is just this feeling of, like, constantly we're just taking hits constantly, and nothing's being done, and we're just expected to be okay with it, and all in the name of peace. We're expected to be the bigger person constantly, and at what point do we go, "No, this is just not okay. You can't do this." It's like, I was having this conversation with James, and this was more his analogy, so I wanna give him credit for it, but
Yeah.
we're talking about, like, slasher villains and stuff like that. It was like, imagine you're dealing with, like, several slasher villains. Like, what, you're gonna try to reason with slasher villains? Do you
I
get what I'm
just think
saying? It's
we
just
have
like
to pick our moment of righteous indignation because I don't disagree with you. Jesus would want righteous indignation when it happens, and there is time to defend yourself and be violent, right? But I don't know. If Trump got killed, we would have been at civil war, right? That is a reason to go to it. Charlie Kirk, while he is a reason to go to it, understanding why. And that's my thing. Like, if we're all here ready to go to civil war, fuck it, let's go, right? If that is our choice on our side, then people have to go all in. I don't want that. And I just understand the left and what they are. And my thing is, if Trump can bring these people to justice, then that's what we need to do. Law. That is what America was built off of. Law and order. And that is what they are trying to break down. And I get it. We want blood with blood. We want eye for an eye. But again, follower of Christ, that only gets you consistently going eye for an eye. So it's like, it's so hard to juggle it. And I get it. We are the tolerant, right? We are the tolerant ones. That is absolutely who we are. We do take the hits because we believe in law and order. We believe in Jesus Christ. We believe in being a better person. We do believe in turning that other cheek because in the end, God will judge all of us. That is where we don't serve. I'm not a tenant of the United States. You're not really a tenant of Canada if you're a believer of Christ. Our first allegiance is to God. That is our first citizenship. So if that's where your mindset is, and that's where Charlie's was, and that's where Charlie was able to do what he does, and the anger is normal. But if our first citizenship as followers of Christ is to God, that is how we turn the other cheek. And that is how we understand that we need to keep doing things the right way.
I mean, yeah, this is the part of I will never call myself a perfect Christian or anything, but this is the part of the
We're not
Bible
meant to
that
be.
this is the part of the Bible I struggle with is that turn the other cheek because I just so I'm tired, and it's not just in politics or anything. It's just evil people get away with so much and they just keep
All the
going,
time.
and that's it. And it's like, at what point do we say stop turning the other cheek? That's my problem, is that good people suffer constantly in the name of being peaceful, and it's just not okay. How many people do I have to see die? Like,
I
how many
think
people do I have to
Britain,
see suffer, like, that are innocent, that have done nothing to deserve it, and it's because we're constantly turning the other cheek. That's the problem. I'm not saying go in the streets tomorrow and do this. I'm just saying don't let that anger leave you, because as soon as it does, you're gonna move on to the next cycle in the internet, and you're gonna forget that feeling. That's the problem, and then it just
I
continues.
agree with that.
You
You
in
can't forget it.
America, you should never, ever fear for your life
No.
for speaking ever. You should never have to.
Anywhere in the West.
He shouldn't have even had to think about wearing a bulletproof vest.
No.
And it's
No.
just, and I was seeing people in the coverage being like, "Oh, you should have had more security here or this or whatever." Yes, I understand, being safe and more protection, whatever. And in hindsight, it's so easy for us to be like, "Why wasn't there a person here? Why wasn't this?" At the end of the day, in America, you should never have to worry about your life changing like that. You should never have to worry about your family not having a father because you were trying to fight for a better country. You
Yeah.
shouldn't have to
Yeah.
worry with speech. And
I
that's
agree.
where it becomes, I get it, and at some point we can't be so like laissez-faire about it. I don't know. It's
I
just
understand. And here's the thing, it's like, it's hard. I'm having that same internal battle. I am. I'm having that same internal battle as you. Um, it's difficult. It is.
yeah.
It is. It's just a hard thing.
It's the difference of like I spoke about this before. I was having an offline conversation with James while we were just having drinks casually. It's
Yeah.
like my heart wants something so different than what my head thinks is right for what society needs, and the
Mhm.
things that I know in my head, I don't have the strength to see all those things through because I understand how we solve these problems, and my heart just is. I'm too much of like I don't like to see people suffering at the end of the day. There's things that I'm like, I know logically that's the thing, but I can't take it as a human being that cares about people. So that's the struggle at the end of the day, right?
It's almost a good thing that you're in Canada, like, in this situation, because, like, it would be tough, like, and everything, like, it was hard for me to go to work today. It was. It was hard for me to get up and go to work today. I was very off today, and, again, it's so weird because people I don't know and celebrities I don't know don't affect me normally, but I think it's different because I'm in that space in a smaller way, but I'm in the same space that Charlie Kirk is. I
Yeah.
do talk politics. I do interview people. I have talked to people that are his contemporaries. In a way, I was his contemporary. You were his contemporary. Like,
Mhm.
we were trying to accomplish the same goals as Charlie Kirk was in different ways. And I think that's what makes it hard to swallow for even us who haven't met him, because we were trying to do similar things. We were on the same side. We had the same belief system. We want, like, it's hard. It's very hard. And I'm hoping that we catch this fucker. I have no idea why we haven't found this gunman yet.
That's a whole other fucking thing. Makes me mad that we
It
haven't
makes me
caught him yet.
terrible.
There's so many people that have to just sleep at night, not sleep at night, worrying about their own safety because this person's still out there.
You could
Forget about
find
the tragedy that they're dealing with. They have to also worry, "Oh, I associated with Charlie Kirk. Are they also having me on a list or something that they're coming after me?"
Is our FBI under Trump that inept that they could find J6ers that were barely on the ground, but we can't find a guy who shot Charlie Kirk from 200 feet away with
This
all
is
the cameras and
this
shit? And
is
they
where
released
my
these photos and now we can't find them.
man, I don't know. I don't like know enough about politics to that degree with America, but I just feel like there's infestation going on. I'm very basic bitch with my stuff when it comes
No,
to like
I don't.
knowing the intricacies, but it's like there's fuckery, man. Like I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me how some of these things just fly under the radar and they're gone. And I think they really do rely on the internet cycle. The more that the internet cycle is aggressive about things, the more likely we are to continue talking about it and see things happen. But if we let these things go and we're not fierce about them, then they just disappear. I mean, even with this girl on the train again, this Charlie thing has been a huge deal, but like I feel like even that's starting to slip away a bit. So
And it's and also today's September 11th, and people
yeah,
are trying to balance a tribute to September 11th and those survivors, those people that died, and also Charlie Kirk. It's like, I think it's intentional. I think it was intentional that the timing was there. They knew they could do it, and now we have 2 days in a row of grieving in this country.
yeah.
It is going to be terrible. King Robotnik, as weird and off Brandon was, I was horrified and appalled if something happened. I wanted him to get a blanket, so mac and cheese, and the Price is Right marathon.
Yeah.
Uh, Lord Slosh, I love that movie about Ted Cruz's life, Zodiac, I think it was called.
Oh god.
Lord Slosh, again, the most offensive thing about the left is that their jokes absolutely suck. Absolutely,
They're
yes.
just boring. Yeah.
Caveatize, Gavin wanted to create a podcast. Charlie was his first guest.
Yeah.
It's sad. And the thing that's fucked up about it too is Gavin Newsom didn't actually give a fuck about Charlie Kirk. He was just trying to, like, portray a different version of Gavin to become nationally popular to run for president. He was using him to try and be like, I'm the middle guy. And that's why he went to Sean Ryan, but then immediately switched back to being a fucking crazy leftist. So he's a piece of shit.
I think his
Robonex,
son is like a fan of Charlie Kirk, no?
who is?
Gavin Newsom's son, maybe?
That's what he said. I don't believe
Oh.
him.
Oh, you don't think
He's like,
that's legitimate?
no, I don't think it's fucking legit. I think he lied. Like, his
Interesting.
son wanted to stay there because he wanted to meet them, but I made him go to school. It's like his son doesn't even know who the fuck Charlie Kirk is. Okay,
Interesting.
Gavin Newsom is a liar. On Glenn Beck's podcast, Stu Bergier, his producer, is with them all the time. Glenn was on vacation for a few weeks, and Stu was filling in with a bunch of different people. And Stu did a whole entire 2 segments, which the Glenn Beck show is split up into 3 40-minute segments. He basically did 2 full segments covering all the different versions of Gavin Newsom, and there was like 20 of them. It's so bizarre. He hates him almost as much as he hates Cuomo, and everyone should hate Cuomo. Anna married a Hispanic dude. Her getting more and more base is only a matter of time. That is very true.
The man should lead their woman into being more based, you know.
Well, most of the time when you get married, the baseness comes unless it's to a soy boy. Melee, my Melee game's James over here. We need Ted to go full Zodiac again.
Oh my god.
Green Goblin calls him moment. I could see Raphael having that argument with himself, and being like, are you Raphael today or are you Ted? JT Absalon, because apparently being upset about one thing means you can't be upset about other things.
Yeah.
Of course we can be upset about multiple things, and we can absolutely balance that. It's crazy. Lord Slosh, I'm seeing it here 2K. People in my town and Facebook are screeching about it.
Makes no fucking sense. Oh my god, I just feel bad for these children because like more than this guy. It's like, can we just be upset that people are dying? Like, I don't know. Like, why does it be compared? Again, it's a tactic. My problem is it's a tactic at the end of the day. I'm not necessarily mad at people who are upset that children are dying in other countries, whatever.
But they don't give a fuck about them dying. They actually don't care.
They're just using it as a tool to then diminish what just happened in North America, in a free country. That's my problem.
Yep. Caveat I saying Gavin was trying to moderate, I guess be moderate. Yeah, no, he tries all the time. Lord Slosh, won't someone think of the children in an active war zone who could very easily be moved to safety, but for some reason, stupid ass reason aren't? I mean, that's easy to say. That's real easy to say. Let's uproot our kids. Let's move them to another place. If that's why you want to avoid those types of things, right? Like you don't want to sit there and be like, well, we'll just go ship our kids off to grandma's in Omaha. It's like, if I don't have to do that, then I don't want to do that. That is last resort. And I get it. We possibly are getting to last resort, but I still want to exhaust every other thing before we get there. Because the last thing I want to do is to remove my wife and 2 kids from my home because my home is now a part of a war zone and I need to defend my property. That is not something I want to do now. Are we potentially getting closer to that? Yes. Every single stone is getting thrown. So, but that's just me. Like, and I guess me being in the shit of it, I don't want that. That's not what I want at all. Lloyd Frost also saying Trump is a star in the movie. Gavin is the fluffer. God, I would not want Gavin anywhere near. Could you imagine Gavin's gross. Newscum will never not come off as a fucking lizard person from RoboNex. He is. Lord Sloss, Trump is empathetic when it's important. He's not always like that in public, and that rubs people the wrong way. We've heard plenty of stories about Trump just being a really good person. Random people that he meets and things like that. RoboNex, Christ is my only king. And I'll say I appreciate all the comments. We might not be able to get to all of them before we get out of here, but I appreciate you all that left them. RoboNex, Lord Slosh, you guys coming in, King Robotnik, appreciate you all. Lord Slosh, Eric doing what Todd McFarlane did in the 90s, going indie and making his own mark on the industry. Yeah, absolutely. And Eric's doing a really good stuff with the Ripperverse, and it's only going to get better. Oh, and you'll see if you do delve into Comicsgate, the biggest meme, every time Ripperverse goes to premiere something, they're in debt, they're failing, they're going to fold. This has been going on for like years now, ever since the Ripperverse came out.
He seems like he's doing fine. So
every single time they do something, oh, his things aren't selling. Oh, he's going to fold. Oh, they lost money. And then it always comes out like they went out. Like they were trying to do it to Flash with Golden Patriot, saying like, oh, it's not successful. And then like he sold like 4,000 copies. Like,
yeah,
it's like,
it is
absolutely hilarious. Lord Slosh, getting away from the Corporal Marvel DC quotas. Yeah, because Marvel and DC are fucking slop. I'm happy that DC bitch got fired though for her comments. Fuck that bitch. And then although I currently saw openings at DC lately. Yes, that's exactly what we were saying. Just read Brave Noir World. If you don't know, Caveat Ties is an author. Brave Noir World is his thing. He's written 4 books. We were going to have Caveat Ties on the show eventually because I want to talk about him in his books. And also, Kay, do you know about Criticless? I'm going to do it before you do Caveat Ties.
Is that the movie website?
The app, yeah. The movie app, the website that Blaine Andrews started.
I've heard of it, yeah.
Go be on it. It's awesome. Caveat ties. I'm teaming up with people trying to start a comic book company. Fuck yeah, do a caveat ties.
That's
I love
awesome,
that.
man. That's good.
I love that. JT Epsilon. But I thought Gamergate was a bunch of incels gooning. Yeah, it's all we do. But that was before gooning was actually like they didn't call it gooning then.
No, they would just say that the women in the movement weren't real. Short story, but like I was walking down the street and somebody like recognized me, not like through internet, like I knew them from a long time ago. They're like, "Oh, I saw those like Gamergate people were harassing you. Are you okay?" And I was like, "What? What are you
That's
talking
hilarious.
about?" But they didn't realize that I'm like completely on their side and I'm like agreeing with Gamergate and that like you know what I mean? It was such a weird situation. They just saw like a brown woman and they're like, "Oh, you're like a victim of Gamergate, aren't you?" And it's like, "No."
They weren't
It's
against
so
women. They
weird.
were against the retards that were doing it. But
Man, and you know, Graham Linham, who
yeah,
recently got
the
arrested
guy
and
in
everything.
UK. Yeah.
One of the moments in Gamergate, I got into an argument with him because he didn't believe that women were in Gamergate, and I literally proved it to him by filming a video of myself being like, "Hi, woman here." And so like that's how I always remember him, but everyone remembers him as like, "Oh, the based guy that's like in Britain and he's like getting
And
arrested." I'm
he's
like, I
only
remember this
recently
guy as a
become this way.
dweeb, man. Like
Yeah,
he
he's
used to be
only
an ass.
recently got to this way because of all the fuckery going on, and he saw his
Yeah,
country being transformed, and that will radicalize anybody. Um,
crazy.
and Lord Slash saying only if Sam Hyde is the one to get Hassan. Yes, it's that whole cycle of Sam Han telling him he wasn't gonna box him, he was gonna kill him. Honestly, hilarious, and killing him in Minecraft, by the way. I'm pretty sure we demonetized or everything for this one anyway. I don't care. Anytime K comes on, I'm demonetized.
Yeah, I do
Lord
that to
Sloth,
people.
Lord Sloth, really just standing our ground is what I mean. The time for tolerance is dying and they're killing it. I agree with that.
Yeah.
You stand your ground, you stand up for your beliefs. And that's exactly what Charlie Kirk wanted. He wanted conservatives to be proud. He wanted conservatives to be open. He wanted us to stand our ground and speak our mind and say it in a respectful, good dialogue way. That is what he wanted. And I'm with you on that. King Robotnik, feeling a while you don't want to whip out the belt. You want to get people in timeout. Talking with juice and cookies can only go so far when they clearly don't want to listen. My pre-K teacher coming out. I agree. I mean, like children, eventually you will have to whip out that belt or the wooden spoon like my Italian mother used to do. But you try not to get there. And again, pre-K teacher coming out, right? You try not to get there with your students if you don't have to. King Robotnik also, I'm playing Fallout and it made me imagine Steven Crowder doing Change My Mind in Brotherhood of Steel Armor. Be fucking awesome. Rodney R, new face. What's up, Rodney?
Yo, Rodney.
It's hard to be a good Christian at a time like this. Charlie was probably one of the best. Personally, I hit back when someone hits me.
I'm struggling too, Rodney. I get it.
Yeah, Rodney, I don't disagree, and I'm doing my best to try and be that good Christian, but I feel the same feelings, and Kay knows I feel the same as she does. It's like, it's just trying to be trying to be as Christ-like as possible. Robo next, turn the other cheek needs cultural context. Presenting your left cheek was unclean in the first century Mediterranean society. The attacker was then either forced to strike the unclean cheek or reassess. That is true. That was kind of the basis of turning the other cheek. But it was double meaning in the Bible, right, Robo? That was also in the context of Jesus healed the unclean. He didn't believe in the unclean. The unclean, as long as they were repentant, would be clean again in the hand of God, and they would go to have a seat with him next to the Father. So while that was a thing back then, when Jesus was saying it, it was in the sense of you will be purified. And that is why the other cheek is turned, because he was against that. There was no unclean to Jesus Christ if you repented. So there's that sense of it. JT Epsilon, FBI dropping the ball hard on catching this guy, and it's ridiculous. You have to think sometimes it's fucking intentional. Robonex, backhanding your right cheek was associated with humiliating someone you saw as less of you, and striking their left cheek meant using your palm as you would an equal. Okay, listen, I love the context, Robo. I appreciate all of that. Lord Swatch, both Cuomo's, honestly, yeah, this whole entire Chris Cuomo trying to now be semi-based, he could fuck himself.
Yeah,
He's such a piece of shit. Lord Slosh over there, critical says fun. Caveat Ty saying, I forgot. I win.
No!
Every single guest, he asks if they know about Critical, so I beat him to it this time. Proctafile saying, take care and we'll be well, folks. Have a good one, Proctafile. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. We'll get to a few more and then we're going to get the fuck out of here. I'm tired.
Yeah, I do think, man.
King Robotnik, I saw a comment where someone was saying, why do people care more about this dude when there were children who died in school? I saw that same one.
Yeah, exactly.
We care about both, but Charlie was a rallying cry for fatigued people. And there's a difference between pure innocence of children and the sorrow you feel for the loss of life of a child that never had the ability to grow old, right? And the difference between someone who was preaching and trying to bring people closer in order to prevent those things from happening.
Both are awful. I don't
Yes.
even know why it needs to be a comparison. I just think it's all a tactic.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So we are all caught up in the comments.
Awesome.
Kay, I appreciate you for coming on.
Yeah, of
It was
course,
kind
man.
of last second. I said I was jumping on, and I saw you really talking about the Charlie stuff, and I figured you'd want a spot to kind of vent. And I love your perspective. You're super thoughtful. It's always cool when someone from Melee. I wish James could jump on here too, but I hope that he's healthy. And everyone, please, if you're not already supporting Melee Games, go and support them. Their streams are fucking hilarious. You guys are so much
Oh,
fun.
man. You're too nice to us.
I truly enjoy jumping in there, whenever I can. I'm not like, it's funny, I'm not someone who's like avid on time on YouTube. I'm not even on time on my own show half the time. But it's like I'll randomly pop on. I'll be like, shit, Melee Games is on. Like, definitely go in there, watch you guys, give a like and things like that.
Thank you.
All the important stuff. Leave a few comments because you guys deserve more pop. You guys should be much bigger than you are, and I think we all need to work together. So, okay,
That
thank
means
you
a
so
lot,
much.
man. Thank you for having me as well. And yeah, I know it's been a heated week, so
Yeah. So you're the best. We'll be back on our normal chat if I feel like popping in again. Like, yeah, this was the impromptu. I just needed to vent, and I appreciate you because you helped me feel better. I feel like
good.
things got off that I was just so pent up, and of course it's gonna still hurt, but I appreciate you having someone to talk to and vent, and I hope I helped you get a little bit of catharsis
No,
out
I
of what I
I
was just
absolutely like I
speaking.
appreciate you and I appreciate your perspectives and I understand a lot of them. And yeah, it just, I said it before in Twitter, but it's like a lot of people, like it's been soul crushing. Like lean on your communities, talk to the people that you love. Like it's okay to be upset,
Mhm.
angry, like in pain. It's just let that out and don't be afraid of those feelings because we're all going through a lot right now. So yeah, it's always good to speak to you, and you're very thoughtful yourself, and I always feel like I learn something when I talk to you. So
I appreciate that. So in the end, rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. Um, you were a great man. Your legacy lives on through debates and conversations like this, and our willingness to engage. And we just have to redouble our efforts and fight harder now because we need to win for Charlie. We need to expel evil from the world, and we will. We will win. Evil doesn't prevail. God will do his thing. So thank you so much for everyone for watching. We'll be back with our regular show next week. I have no idea who's on, but we'll be back there. And again, like I said, go support Melee Games. So everyone, we will see you guys later. Have a good night.